across all tiers, it's, again, the highest in the DPS category, as well as an extremely high win rate. She does fall off a little bit when you get to the higher ranks, so again, a little bit of a lower pick rate, a little bit of a lower win rate, but still pretty high. The second thing too is that in team play, so this is a screenshot from one of the Face It games right over here, this Face It game specifically, that happened yesterday, and you can see Vendetta's being played, of course. So in team play and in ranked, she's still pretty good, all elos pretty good, really strong with Zarya. We'll get into Zarya a little bit later. I think the reason why Vendetta's pretty good is characters like Zarya were already in a good spot beforehand, and Vendetta does so much damage up close that characters like Zarya are essentially enable Vendetta to close the gap pretty easily, and as a result, she can shred through teams pretty easily. I'm gonna make a Vendetta video specifically, so stay tuned for that, about how to play the character properly, and what pros are doing that you might not be doing in your games. But yeah, before I continue with the tier list, a quick side note. Around Christmas, it feels like everything can stack up at once. You're traveling more, spending more, and getting bombarded when new shows show up. For me personally, that's been the new Stranger Things on Netflix, as well as
heading into the alpha and the beta.
But it's important to keep track of these subscriptions, which is why I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you see where your money's at all in one place, and for my friend who I told Rocket Money about, the big win was in subscription management. For them, they could track their Twitch subscriptions, but obviously they do go more broad than that. They easily show up, so it's immediately obvious what's active and what could be cancelled, all handled by just a couple of taps. The other feature my friend kept telling me about was budgeting and getting insights on spending. Rocket Money asks you specifically where you could cut back spending, and they even gave my friend little challenges to help save over time. If you want to take control of your spending this season, do check out Rocket Money. It's free to download, and you can also get a premium trial by signing up with my link. Go to rocketmoney.com/Cager or scan the QR code on screen. I'll also include a link in the top line on my description too. Thanks once more to Rocket Money. D.Va going in A+ tier. Not much has changed since last season. She was pretty popular in Stockholm. I do recommend looking at TVNT's POV, I've got it here, about why D.Va can be so good. So like, yeah, just collapse the Ash immediately. Like, it's kind of crazy, to be honest, about how he does that. D.Va's only problematic when you're playing into like Zarya on flat maps, or like Zarya Vendetta, like Lijiang for example, or like a Nepal map or something like that. Or like Koth maps, or like for example. But barring that, she's still pretty versatile. Next was Doom. I mean, I think like we saw one Doom strat by Crazy Raccoons. I think, yeah, it was here, right? So basically, if you don't know, Crazy Raccoons played Doomfist against Alcatia Sim. Basically just a hard punch. In fact, I love to literally goes off the sim here, or checkmate goes off the sim here eventually. But they just hard rolled the sim comp on Basan here. That's really the only case where Doom is pretty good, when Lucio's banned and you want to hard punish sim comps. In ranked, he's not even that good in ranked, I don't think. Like if I check tank pick rates, like 8%, 47% is okay. I think it's been better in the past. He's not that great barring that one situation. I might make a video on this too. Maybe, I've got tons of stuff to make on. But yeah. Has I put A-, B+, somewhere over here, yeah. 40 to 50 and 50 to 400. This kind of does offset the slash nerf that he got a little bit a while ago, but it's still not great. I think the reason why I'm putting Haz here is because he's so, like, compared to where Haz was a few months ago, he is so much more squishy, right? The block slop nerf, plus you can headshot him in block, it makes him way more punishable now. And he's still decent, like if you know what you're doing on the character, he's still pretty good. He's just way more punishable, like you can't just like turn your brain off and play Hazard, you know? Still good, but there's gonna be better options. Next up is Queen. Okay, Queen I debated putting between B and C tier. I don't know which one I'm gonna put her in just yet, I'll figure out at the end. I'm gonna put her B for now, because I think her ultimate is still really strong, but Queen is not in a good place. The reason why is that the two best tanks right now, Zarya and Sigma, have good matchups into Queen, right? And Queen also suffers into Vendetta, right? If you're playing Queen into Vendetta, who's also really strong right now, you will get shredded. Especially with that minor perk that gives you lifesteal, you will just get absolutely cooked. And you do no damage into Vendetta, because you get your damage half because of armor, right? So you can actually get shredded on Queen a decent amount, or get your shout forced at least. It's not amazing. I think, again, your ultimate's the only sort of thing stopping you from getting down to C tier. I'll decide at the ends. But I'm putting her beta for now. I think there's worse options than Queen, is why I'm putting Queen here and not here. But again, I'll decide at the end. Also, Queen got the most pointless nerf ever. Like, what is this nerf, bro? Who on earth was complaining about Carnage cooldown, bro. Who? Show me one person that was complaining about Carnage CD. This nerf was terrible. No one asked for this, bro. Next one is Malga. Okay, you guys might hate me for this, okay? I don't think Malga is that bad. I genuinely don't think he's that bad. I think he's A-B+. Maybe I'm just biased on Malga because I'm a Malga player as well. And also, I'll put it on screen too. I've been coaching Malga privately, so I'll put that on screen as well. He was also playable in Stockholm. You can see the strat by Falcons, Malga Juno Brig, the, you know, PTSD meta from last year in Stockholm. It was actually being played in some circumstances. I think he is legitimately playable. Yes, there are better options. Is Malga ban reliant? Yes, Malga is ban reliant, but I think that this tier fits him perfectly then, you know? When I was doing Orisa, this is why I didn't put Queen in C tier, because I think Queen is better than Orisa, and Orisa's really not great right now. I think the stats kind of imply that, right? Low pick rate, low win rate, both in America and EU as well, I believe. If I go to Europe, you'll see it too. Yeah, even worse in Europe, right? And also the top two tanks, Sigma and Zarya, the top two ground tanks, have got good matchups into Orisa too, which isn't great. Again, I think they're circumstantial. I think if you nerf Zarya and Sigma, and Vendetta to some extent, you will see Orisa climb a little bit. But yeah, Ram's weird. I don't know where exactly to place. I think he's better than Malga and Has. Okay, the thing with Ram is, beforehand, when Ram was being played, it was because his block was insane, right? Nowadays, I think Ram's pick rate is circumstantial. What I mean by that is that he's being played or being picked with characters that are really strong. So in Stockholm, that was down to sim comps, right? Like, and he's pretty much, barring Sigma, we'll get on Sig later, pretty much the best ground tank, again, barring Sig, as a result. Reinhardt, okay, last season, I put Ryan in C tier. Now, I think Reinhardt is a little bit, I'll explain why Reinhardt's a little bit better. He did get the worst nerf I've legitimately ever seen in my... Who is complaining about... Genuinely, who's complaining about Shasta? This nerf is terrible. I think I'll put the tweet on screen in the edit of like Derby complaining about the Ryan nerf thing, and Infected too. Still, I think Reinhardt is actually pretty decent. The reason why is that you can outball Vendetta quite easily on the front line, so Vendetta has to play distance and path around a Reinhardt, and he's got a decent matchup with Zarya as well. So I think if you were playing, I want to see a sim team. I want to see a Ryan sim team play into Vendetta Zarya. That's what I want to see. Because in theory, the matchup shouldn't be that bad. If you can TP around and avoid the cycle from Vendetta Zarya, that shouldn't be that bad. In theory, is what I'm saying. But again, we don't know, we haven't seen that in team play too much because we haven't, it's only been a week, right? Ryan Sim Bastion meta picker would be hilarious. I don't even think that's a bad comp, honestly. I would, unironically, to these Face It teams, that wouldn't be a bad comp to run on a flat map, unironically. The one thing too, right, is that Ryan's, like, in the Ryan vs Ram matchup, Ryan's big advantage over Ram was his shatter. Because you could shatter Annihilation, and Ram couldn't do much about it. But that literally just got nerfed. So, like, your matchup into Ram is even worse. Rodog's been the same for, like, the last, like, 10 years. Again, extremely ban-reliant character. And, again, there's better options to play. But if you ban Orisa Ana and you walk around and you hook Vendetta, there's not really much you can do about it, to be honest. Because, if you hook Vendetta, you fuck up her cycle entirely, right? Like, she's forced to leave as a result. So I don't think he's actually that bad, in theory, against Vendetta. Zarya might offset that because, again, you can bubble Vendetta and she's fine. She can continue to brawl, so that might offset that a little bit. But in general, I think, as a whole, in rank, Hog's probably fine. Baron-like character, as usual. Objectively, Sig should go S tier, right? If you look at the numbers, highest pick rate, highest win rate, go to EU, same case. Go to Asia, same case. If you go all tiers, same case, right? Like, it's kind of universal. It's the thing with Sigma. I find it really interesting because this came out of nowhere, right? Like, Sig did get a massive buff in this patch, and then that allowed him to, like, two-shot, and then it got nerfed, right? Like, the breakpoint thing got nerfed. It's kind of insane to... I don't actually think this is a big buff, but I do think this buff to Sig made people realize he's actually not that bad, and he's actually pretty strong. Especially considering that, again, we don't have a blocked meta. Ram isn't OP broken anymore, and Sig has got a good matchup into most of these tanks. And as a result, he's actually a decent counter meta option to this comp here, right? If you're on the right map, and you can play distance to disable Vendetta, he's actually pretty good. And if you rock Vendetta during her engage, or if you ban Zarya and they play Vendetta, and you're able to rock Vendetta, she just dies. Like, she just blows up, right? so he's actually not that bad of a countermeasure option as in of himself, right? Winston, I put in my script similar to Has, in that if you're good, you can make Winston work, but the margins of error are thin, right? Again, tearing Winston is super hard to do, because if you put him on a map like Ilios, Dorado, those dive maps, he's gonna shoot to like A+ or S tier, right? But on like more flat maps, he's gonna fall down a little bit. So I'm kind of averaging it out a little bit, dependent on maps and bands. Again, this is why I put this little bit in brackets, right? Because that's gonna depend on how good Winston can be. Next one is Ball. I'm gonna finish tanks and catch up on chat. I put my script, I low-key don't even know where to place Ball. I think he's slightly better than Winston, because your value is more individual, and you can disrupt dives a little bit more individually by getting early pile drivers, disrupting Vendetta before she stages, stuff like that. But he's clearly not good enough to counter sim comps that we saw in the meta just 2 weeks ago, and it doesn't seem like he's that good enough to disrupt, like, again, heavy brawl dive comps like the Vendetta Zarya stuff that we've been seeing, and he can also get disrupted by Sig quite easily, so I don't think he is insanely great as he's been in the last 2 months or so. Zarya I put S tier. Again, you look at the stats, right? You go back to tank here, really high pick rate, relative, you know, to the other tanks too. You go to Face It again, same ordeal, everyone's been playing Zarya Adventure and Scrims, from what I've heard as well. I think this is technically A+, because her pick rate is a bit lower, but I think in team play, I would prefer, like, Zarya Adventure is like Zarya Vendetta, sorry, is like a better comp in team play. Ashe going A+. I mean, guys, like, I think that's kind of obvious. Like, Ashe, high pick rate, high win rate. Honestly, her win rate is actually noticeably higher than Sojourn, which I find interesting, both in EU and in America, as Vendetta, sorry. Notably high, which I find interesting. My instinct is her spam is harder to outplay in ranked, and in team play, the mobility of Sojourn gives the Sojourn win with flexibility, and Ashe doesn't have much counterplay when she's being doped by Vendetta Zarya compared to Sojourn sliding out, is my gut instinct on that. In short, I think Ashe is better in ranked compared to Sojourn, but Sojourn better in team play compared to Ashe, is to put it short. Okay, Bastion. Bastion 8, bro. I did not think I'd see the day. Okay, this buff, yeah, was actually bombastically dumb as hell. I don't know, why do they do this? But for reference, his DPS went from 125 to 150 because of this change. And now his primary fire is like comparable to like Soldier's gun now. It's actually kind of stupid. You look at the stats too, Bastion's actually doing pretty well. He's doing decently in ranked. He's actually like doing well. So yeah, I don't know, man. I think in lower ranked as well, you're probably gonna put him higher up if you're a bit lower ranked. But I think because if you don't get value on your form cycle, Ashe will be better, Soldier will be better. That minor perk where he gets a refresh of his grenade is actually so stupid. You get 3 grenades for doing nothing, bro. It's actually mind-bogglingly stupid. And if you combine that with the major perk of his little gun thing, you can shoot a nade, then shoot another nade, then shoot another, and get like 500 damage. If you get the major perk that gives you the little special turret thing that lets you shoot someone. It's actually stupidly, but it's so much burst damage, it's stupid. Also, forgot to mention this was Bastion too. Bastion, one of his big counters was Freya. Freya had a really good matchup into Bastion, but because Freya's weaker now, that also indirectly buffs Bastion as a result. So really important thing to mention there. Cass. I never thought I'd see the day where Cass is worse. I think Cass is worse than Bastion. Is that crazy? Is that a crazy take? I don't think that's a crazy take, right? I think stats kind of backed up a little bit. Like, its win rate is lower than Bastion's. It's comparable pick rate as well. That's America. Europe is comparable, literally the exact same pick rate, but no, like that's a dramatically lower win rate. Like, I don't think it's insane to put Cass lower than Bastion. The reason why is I don't think there's much of a reason to play Cass. You have less spam damage compared to Ashe and compared to Sojourn. Your ult still sucks too, mind you. And dive isn't insanely powerful right now, to the point where you need to play, you know, like Cass or Torb, right? Like, I talked about it in my Vendetta video, that if you hinder Vendetta, it's not fully over for Vendetta. Like, she can still block it, right? And move away. But yeah. Echo, I put A-B+. I had someone in my Discord ask about Echo pick rate. The thing with Echo, and this is true of other flex DPS too, is if someone like Vendetta is super strong and she's getting all the playtime, it doesn't necessarily mean that characters like Genji, Echo, Tracer, other flex DPS are necessarily bad, right? In theory, Echo should be good to outrange a Vendetta Zarya comp, like a combo like this. In theory, you think Echo's good, but you can just swap the Diva and mark an Echo. I'll mention that with Farah too. It is somewhat map dependent, you know? Like, how are you gonna make Echo work into Vendetta Zarya or New Junk City? Like, you're just not gonna make that work, right? Freya, okay, Freya, thankfully an easy one, got absolutely murked in the patch notes, okay? 130 to 110. In theory, like, you can two-shot someone by if you land one body shot of your normal, like, spam bow, and then you land two shots, there's 250 in total, right? But that's so much more unreliable to what it was in the past. This kind of killed Freya entirely. If you look at her pick rate too, 6-7, can we get some 6-7s in chat? And 42%, like, Genji, A-, B+ as well, same case as Echo, right? I think he also got a projectile size nerf. I'll put it on screen because I can't be bothered to find it, but I'll put it on screen. Also, Genji was great at holding, like, close range spaces because of his deflect. That allowed him to hold those sort of spaces. But because of Vendetta, he kinda gets cleared out now because of that. And again, I talked about that in my Vendetta video from last week. Next one is Hanzo. I put Hanzo A- B+. Last season, I'm putting him in the exact same place here. Not too much commentary. The only thing to mention is that I think consistent damage is more important this season because Vendetta has such little poke that if you're playing a Vendetta comp, it's important to have some consistent damage with an Ash hit scan or a Soj, right? Something like that. But again, still, the skill matchup's going to be the same. It's stopping Vendetta from reaching you and Hanzo. That's really important to play around. Of course, I think the buffs that he got over the year make him pretty decent, right? Maybe you could argue he goes B tier. I'll decide at the end, but yeah. Next one is Junkrat. Received a slight projectile speed buff this patch. I don't think it makes that big of a difference. I think it buffs his base kit, and because you're still going to pick this major perk anyways. Again, Junkrat's biggest issue, the reason why you will never see this guy be meta, is that his ability to traverse the map and rotate is risky, right? If you compare Junkrat to his competition, Venture can dig, Vendetta's got to fly through the air and a block, Reaper can TP, Sim can TP, Echo can fly and is very controllable, Farah's got a controllable fly too. Junkrat's ability to traverse with his mine is risky, he can't control it as much, right? So I think he needs some kind of perk that gives him damage reduction while he's midair. I think that's how I would buff Junkrat. Again, unless your name is Aquamarine, I don't want to see you on Junkrats. Okay, next one, Mei. Mei, similar case, but I think Mei's more flexible option in terms of like your playstyle with the character compared to Junkrat. The scary thing with Mei is that you can get walked on by Vendetta and get outbrawled. So what you need to do is like flank on Mei and actually poke out Vendetta, take a soft off angle, maybe flank around if the map's open for it too. Which is her silver lining with her play. Next one is Farah. Okay, so on paper, you would think someone like Farah hard counts Vendetta, and you're not wrong, but similar to Echo, you just go Diva and you mark a Farah, so that's what generally happens. If you're playing Farah to count Vendetta, it's really important you scout a Vendetta and you mark her out as much as you can and stop her from engaging. That's a really important thing. I did make a video too on this pharmacy strat, so you know, quick self-plug there. But pharmacy can be used in some niche situations to counter sim. Counter in heavy air quotes, because this was one map, but something worth bringing up. Next one is Reaper. Reaper's going A- B+, so I'm going to mention this with Adventure too, but he literally, also, he caught the most random nerf ever, by the way. Like, for some reason, I don't know why Reaper caught this nerf, but the thing with Reaper, and why he's going A- B+, is he's still fine if you play him with Zarya, and in fact, he did get some play in Stockholm, right? But again, as you can predict, why play Zarya Reaper when Vendetta is an option? And Vendetta does more on her bubble engages than Reaper, right? The only benefit Reaper has in comparison to Vendetta is that your safety, or you're safer, right? Wraith makes you invincible, right? Whereas Block does not on Vendetta. That's your silver lining. But if you're good enough on Vendetta, that doesn't really matter, right? So maybe if you're playing for like Arn or something, or you're playing for like heavy burst damage, maybe it's worth playing Reaper. But I would say like it's like a poor man's Zarya Vendetta comp is how I would describe it right now. Next one, Sojourn, definitely going A+. Maybe I put both these guys S tier. Again, I'll decide at the end. But again, very interchangeable with Ashe at the moment. I think Sojourn's better in team play because she's more consistent, more flexible, got more mobility, better on different maps, better with more comps, etc. But again, in ranked, you can get away with the greedier spam from Ashe that Ashe has, and her ultimate's a bit easier to use. Like, Bob is really easy to use in comparison to Overclock. So I think they both have their slight quirks, but roughly the same in terms of power level. Next one is Soldier. Thankfully, at my Soldier explanation, kind of simple, just a ranked character. He's gonna be fine in ranked. Of course, he's not gonna have the exact same or as good as a value ceiling as Ash or Sojourn. Like, you're gonna get more value on these characters, generally speaking. But he's okay. He can run around the map. He can flank around. He's gonna be a good ranked character. That's it. Sombra, also going B tier too. I don't think she's very good at all. I think the rise of Brig Kiri and Brig Juno as well makes it hard for Sombra to get behind and like flank and do things. And into the meta comp, so Diva, Zarya, Vendetta stuff as well, again this stuff on screen, right? I don't think Sombra is that good. The reason being is you can't really stop a Vendetta Zarya engage. Like, what do you do against this? You can't prevent that engage at all. You haven't got enough poke for that at all. You can't really hack during the bubble, right? You just don't do much. Again, the reason why I'm putting Sombra here and not here is your flexibility in playstyles. Right? Same thing with Mei. That's the only silver lining for Sombra, is that flexibility. Barring that, she'd be dropped to C tier. Sim's going A+, so yeah, so Cap made a video called Sim is not meta, TM are just better. And if you watch this video, I actually do agree, right? We have seen Doom being used to counter Sim. In fact, they forced them to get off Sim and go Tracer, so that's one thing. And secondly, if you watch how Crazy Raccoons play, it was terrible. Like, Crazy Raccoons had no idea what they were doing half the time. They were dying to air. I don't think Sim's that good, right? Now, it's not to say Sim isn't strong. Again, she's still A+, right? But I don't think she's fully meta-defining, is the silver lining. I think, honestly, people just suck into playing into Sim. That's kind of the main thing. Next one is Torb. Torb's going C tier. So again, unless your name is Cheeseburger, right? This is why I have Cheeseburger here. Who, if you don't know, Cheeseburger is a Torb OTP, who's Champ 3. I made a video on him too. I might put it on screen in the edit as well. Your spam is way less consistent than Ash and Sojourn, which is pretty important right now. Right? If you're playing Torb here, right? So you're playing Torb instead, you're just gonna have less throughput over time. Is kind of the issue. Next one is Tracer. Tracer A+. If you look at pick rates, Tracer's still fairly high. Really good at ranked, of course. The projectile size nerf still did hit her. I think I was tempted to put Tracer a little bit lower. I think her flexibility is still really strong, and again, in ranked, she's still really, really good. I think it's kind of a skill matchup thing too as well. Okay, yeah, same case as Reaper. Again, I'm not gonna hamper on it too much, but Venture isn't bad. In fact, they were actually playing Venture in Stockholm. Again, I think CarQ raises this clip. He was talking about, oh yeah, why should people play Vendetta when Venture can just do this, right? And the clip was like this Venture player going on some crazy kill streak. The main reason being is that Venture's still good, right? You get your CDs back really quickly with the perk, and you're kind of invincible in your pathing because of Burrow. So it was really good. Again, really good with Zarya, right? But again, Vendetta has kind of overtaken that, as you can see. So that's the main thing with Venture. I think there's other options that are better right now. Next one is Widowmaker. Widow going B tier. I always put Widow here. If you're good at Widowmaker, you can make her work anywhere, anytime, any place, right? If you can actually hit your shots. But that's the skill check, right? Like, maybe you go C tier too, but I think, again, if you're really good at her, you can make it work. Maybe C tier, I don't know. But yeah. Ana going A tier. Lucio Kiri is still really good, and that's why I'm not putting Ana any higher, right? Because Lucio Kiri is, spoilers, Lucio Kiri is going S tier. If you ban those characters, or you're on a correct map, or you're good at Ana, right? I still think she's really good. I think she's more than a viable alternative, actually, even without Lucio Kiri being banned, right? The Sleep Dart is also a great skill check into Vendetta. Most Vendetta players aren't that great, even in GM and Champion. They're not that great, so Sleep Dart can be a good skill check too. And of course, who can forget about the headshot major perk as well? That's kind of broken. Kind of doing a little bit of the heavy lifting as to why she's here as well. Next one is Baptiste. Baptiste going B, A-, B+. I often say, when dive isn't good, Bap should get more play. And he should be higher up in theory, right? The main issue with Baptiste is that despite dive not being great, he still can't live in comparison to his competition, specifically Kiriko, right? I think, again, your throughput's still high, you can still do a lot, right? But Kiri is just way better at living in the mid-fight compared to Baptiste, which is why I'm putting him here in this like middling, higher mid-tier, to be honest. Okay, Brig, similar case to Baptiste, but did get a buff fairly recently. Yeah, so this was a pretty important buff, and Juno has been getting buffs too. So Brig Juno, we'll get onto Juno later, but Brig Juno is an actual legitimate alternative now to Lucio Kiri. Again, it'll depend on the map, depend on the comp, but again, Brig Juno isn't terrible. Like again, you can see this team playing Brig Juno, right? It's not terrible anymore. It's not insanely good right now, but I think Brig's flexibility, the recent buffs, Juno being buffed too, makes her viable overall. Aloy might go, again, same place as Widowmaker, you know? If you're on the correct map, you can make Aloy work, and poke out Vendetta, you know, on like those open maps, like New Queen Street maybe, that I can see Aloy working. Midtown 2 is a good map shout out for Aloy, so maybe not in C tier, but yeah, I don't know, it still feels weird on most situations against a Lucio comps in general. Juno, A tier, again, I've kind of explained it in the Brig section, so if you're watching the YouTube video, you can rewind to there, but Juno getting tons of buffs recently. I did make a Juno video over here, talking about why Juno was never meta, and some Juno play in Collegiate, so go watch that video if you want to know why Juno's being played there. Or more recently, Juno did get buffed in this recent patch. She was allowed to do headshots now, and I think this buff is unironically, or not unironically, but it's actually really, really strong. The reason why is that you're less reliant now in having or relying on a Brig to survive, right? If you're playing Juno, you pretty much needed a Brig to survive. But now, you can actually fight off flankers a little bit more. And this allows you a little bit more individually reliant, right? Also, you get ult charge quicker. And again, a big thing in this video was, in comparison to Kiri, you need to farm orbital ray. And this change indirectly helps that too. And if you look at the pick rates as well, if I go support over here, like, actually, a much higher pick rate. She was down here last season. Like, go to my last tier list. She was down here. Now she's like skyrocketed up. So A tier, I think is more than reasonable. Maybe A plus, depending on if you're playing ranked or not. But I think A is fair. Kiri, S tier. I mean, guys, who could have seen this coming? I don't think anyone else could have seen this coming. I think this is kind of obvious, right? I mean, obvious. I mean, okay, win rate's not that huge to be fair, but pick rate is, right? And in team play, again, you're always gonna see Kiri. Lucius, by the way, Lucius banned here, so that's why they're playing Wu Yang. Okuna's got nerfed slightly, but it's not a big deal. Like, S tier forever, man. The reason why, by the way, is that she can live. She's the only flex support, barring Moira, that can actually live mid-fights because of TP. Next one is Weaver. Weaver, come on, man. I say it all the time. Let's put the Weaver in the bag, bro. Check pick rates. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. And the thing is, GK, the BAP Life Weaver team, didn't even play BAP Weaver, I don't think, in Stockholm. He did get a small buff in the mid-season patch last month too. I think like a reduced hitbox size to his volume. I'm not going to bring it up because it was so minor. But yeah, Weaver, still ass, not a surprise. Lucio, S tier, again, obvious, easy, everyone bans him, everyone plays him in team play. I mean, it's kind of obvious. I shouldn't explain it, again, I don't need to explain this, it's kind of self-explanatory. Mercy in B tier. So, in my last season, I put her in C tier. My one difference, my reason for this difference, is because of Ashe. I think in ranked specifically, Ashe Pocket Mercy is actually really good on certain maps. Like, you can hard deny Vendettas because of it, and I'm sure some of you in chat will know how annoying that can be, because you just get damage from, like, you get damage boosted dynamited from a corner, and you can't dive, or you can't move, and it's, like, really annoying. That's the only thing that I think's giving Mercy a little bit of leeway. Barring that, I think there's not really much else to Mercy's viability right now. Moira, I put it in B tier. I think, again, if you're playing Suravasa, or you're banning and you've got the correct bans, I think you can probably play like a Moira Kiri comp, something like that, right? Ban Lucio, play Moira Kiri. That might work on a correct map. But barring that, again, there's not really much else to mention. Next one is Wu Yang. The Wu Wu going A tier. Again, I think this meta alternative thing is a great description of Wu Yang. Again, when Lucio's banned, so Lucio's banned here by the way, Wu Yang gets more play. If you're playing a fairly open map as well, like New Queen Street or something like that, Wu Yang can thrive. Iconwald is a good example where Wu Yang can get some play. A little small movement nerf. I don't think it's that huge of a deal. I think because Tracer got nerfed, or rather Tracer's not that, and she's still popular in ranked, right? But because she's not as broken as she once was, you can actually live on Wu Yang a little bit more. Wu Yang's still strong, good poke, good synergy with Vendetta too. Like your ultimate is really good. You can just, you can give the Taro Blast to Vendetta, and she can just destroy an entire team. But barring that, I think he's not as good as Lucio, of course, but still a good alternative. You know the saying, right? Last but not least, last and least is Zen. I feel bad for Zen, honestly. Wu Yang is the power crept Zen. Again, I think I know you say Dita. I mean, I know you're saying Dita immediately. I know, but bro, if you're on a good map and you're good at Zen, like you can maybe make it work, like Havana, for example, you know, or Circuit Royale, right, something like that, where it's hard for Vendetta to path. Maybe then you can make it work. I might make a video on Zen, not in the near future, but maybe in like February or something, about how he's been forgotten, because he is the forgotten character now, to be honest. This is the final list. I've made a key in the top left, as I usually do, about where characters could move depending on where you might personally want to place them, and depending on fluctuations as well with how I define certain things. Starting off with Vendetta, I did a poll, I might put it in the edit, I did a poll, and most people in the chat put Vendetta in A+ to A tier, and some people put her in S tier. I think she could definitely go down 1 when people know how to play against Vendetta in the future, so that's why I'm putting the red dot next to Vendetta's name. Zarya, I put +1, as well as Symmetra 2. The reason being is that, again, in team play, you can see more Zarya synergize well with Vendetta. Sim, you could define Sim as meta, because Sim is drastically underplayed right now, and I think if people knew how to play Sim, you could argue that Sim should be S tier. I've also moved up Ash and Sojin 2 from A+ tier. Tracer, getting a -1. The reason being, I think Tracer is drastically overplayed. Tracer could be weak, technically speaking, right? But people are still going to play Tracer because Tracer is just inherently popular. So that's why I'm putting Tracer -1. Bastion going -1. Honestly, I'm just expecting this guy to get nerfed in the mid-season patch. So that's why he's getting a -1. Echo getting a +1. People in my chat were telling me to give Echo +1, so I think that's fair if you think about it, right? I think if you're playing on a map where you can punish Vendetta really hard, and you can technically outmaneuver Sig too. Like Sig, you're just Sig shield you don't really care about, right? Like that's what's another strength of Echo too. You can outmaneuver Sig, you can ban Diva, you can play around that in some situations or some maps too, right? So I think that's a reasonable thing to put or to acknowledge about putting Echo +1. Hanzo -1, and maybe I'm overstating how good Hanzo was. I think in this current meta right now, he might be a little bit weaker, because again, you can get him out by Diva, you can get dodged by Vendetta, you are weaker comparatively, notably, to Ash and Sojin 2, again, because of that consistent damage. Unless your name's Tree, or, again, Flash attack, I wouldn't want to see you play Hanzo necessarily. Reaper and Venture, I'm going to copy these two together, because it's under the same reasoning, right? I think they're still strong, based off Stockholm. I think, again, relatively, again, you might be thinking about, okay, Vendetta is stronger, but these guys are so strong with Zarya. Like, don't get it twisted, right? Like, these guys are still good alternatives, even if Vendetta isn't banned, right? I said ban reliant. I think even if Vendetta's not banned, I could definitely see these guys get value, or be a good alternative to Vendetta. Similar to how Brig Juno is a good alternative to Lucio Kiri. These characters here, a lot of red dots. I'm gonna couple them together. It depends how you define situational, right? I think if you're really good on Widow and you're technically an OTP, you can make her work, so it might go down 1. Really situational, really situational, really situational, really situational too. So depends how you define them. But that's the list. As always, let me know your thoughts down below, and until next time.
Ian Jama, better known.
I knew combat was going to be like a weak point in the skill. It wasn't available in the alpha at all, and they said they weren't ready to show it off, right? And then in the beta, it was a little bit clear that like, and they even mentioned, I think maybe even on your cast, that like combat was a struggle to find like the right like way to do it, like and it felt awkward. And they found they figured out this method, which is very like, you know, point and click, and it works, like it's serviceable. But it is, I think, one of the weaker parts of sailing, and I don't think many people will disagree with that. In terms of what I like about it, really, the only thing I kind of like about it is that there's like a somewhat interesting targeting system where you can, you know, attack one thing with 3 different sources, or you can attack 3 different things at once. Like, that's kind of interesting. Like, even when I was doing mantas and stuff like that, setting up that process of like, you attack this, I attack this, was like somewhat interesting. And it was like, you set it up and then you're kind of AFK for like 40 seconds. So that's like the positive part. But generally, I do think it needs like some work. And I think it's so hard right now because I think the only way we'll be able to fully judge sailing combat is if we are actually fighting something with mechanics. Because right now nothing has mechanics, right?
Yeah.
You could argue that like the emergent mechanics of like, you know, entangling something and freezing in a spot, yeah, that's one thing. But if we actually have like a creature, which we're going to get in 2026, that has like mechanics where you have to be like actively moving your boat and dodging things while optimizing to make sure your cannons are attacking, then it's like I think we're getting a little bit more of what combat could be. But right now we're just hitting cows with like 400 HP.
Yeah.
So it's a little tough to judge fully until we get something like that.
Yeah, no, totally. I actually think it's a good thing we haven't gotten mechanics yet, because I think it's very important we iron out all these kinks with combat. So the shooting 400 HP chickens and cows is actually probably the better road to go down. I will say there's a few things I would want to see from combat that would make a world of difference, and that is making it so auto retaliate is an actual thing. So, for example, like right now, we got a lot of players going to safe spots and stuff, which is totally cool. I've always been a huge fan of safe spots for like normal ground stuff. I hate it when they patch safe spots usually. It's just because like, fuck it, like people want it, you know? But what's kind of cool is the ability to really just go out into the waters with a bunch of sharks circling you and having like 6 attack you, because ultimately the repair kits are pretty damn easy to make and you get a bunch of construction XP from it. And like you use 1 ironwood log, turn it into a plank and use some nails on it, and that turns into 3 repair kits that are 45 healing each. So like 1 log plus the rune nails, of course, but I had plenty of runes, so I wasn't really thinking of that. Obviously there's that cost too, but mostly it's just 1 plank for 135 HP healed. That's very good. And I like that because you are able to fully justify going out there. Now, as a main, those repair kits do have a price to it. As an Iron Man, I'm not really thinking of the price. I'm just thinking I'm just going to use these because where else am I going to use them? And I'm getting construction XP, so this is great. So I do understand as a main the incentive to go safe spot, but I think what would incentivize going out and actually just having your ship attacked is the auto retaliate feature, which as long as somebody is on your cannon and something is attacking within that cannon's range, you should auto retaliate it. Why the fuck are we all standing there while our ship's getting attacked? Like, can we please have some sort of auto retaliate feature? I think that would be amazing. That would just, it would feel, in my opinion, like a more pleasant experience when you are trying to sort of AFK a little bit and just kind of stand in the middle. It's similar to Slayer vibe where you just stand there, maybe use a goading pot, or maybe just have obviously the creatures be aggro to you for 10 minutes. Like that feels pretty good to just be able to auto retaliate. And I think the same thing should be with the ship. And the other thing is like the button, for the most part, the sailing menu works quite well where it comes to like being able to do a ship repair while you're harvesting or something. You know what I mean? Like there's certain things that I'm actually quite impressed that they were able to like navigate around the engine's issues and stuff and make it so things can happen. But when you're harvesting, you can't direct fire with one of your privateers. So like they're not firing when you're harvesting. There's no way to do it. You can't move your ship while you're harvesting. The harvesting alone needs to be, that is probably one of the most tilting features about ship combat, is just how fucking long it takes to throw a net out there and then have the thing like travel this weird distance where it's like moving under the ship and you finally pick it up and it's like that took 8 ticks. Like why? So like telegrab needs to be a thing that's just insta harvest. I just think the harvesting speed should be twice as fast, and it should sort of navigate to you in a more simplistic way that is like as soon as it's touched any part of the boat, you've obtained it if you're not using telegrab, for example. And then there's a lot more, but I'll jump into that in a second. But like those are, I think, the main things: auto retaliate, faster harvesting, making it so the menus work under any circumstances, including the harvesting. So
yeah, I think an auto retaliate makes sense. Actually, I haven't heard that, so I think that would be a pretty good addition. Yeah, and you could probably work it into this menu in a way that like doesn't really change it up too much. Like it wouldn't look exactly like how it looks in the regular combat menu. It'd be like a button of some sort, like a toggle. So yeah, I think that would be good. The harvesting, I think it's such a cute animation. Like I do love it.
It is cute. It is cute.
And one thing that I do kind of like is when you get that satisfying like one tick harvest where you like
Yes.
are on top of something and boom, it's instantly in your inventory. But obviously you don't get that most of the time, and I can't stand it when the character this applies to some things you click on C when it's like, because the boat's moving. It's more of a technical thing. I don't even know if they can fix it. When the boat's moving and you click on something and your character runs to like the back of the boat and then has to run to the front of the boat because you passed it, and then it's like, oh my goodness, it's going all over the place. I don't know if that's solvable, but sometimes in combat it feels like it does that. But no, I think an auto retaliate feature would be kind of awesome to just kind of sit there and attack multiple things at once. I think that they also like, I think 2 quicker fixes are like, I think the damage is low. Like, I think they could up the damage for the cannons and for the players in whatever method you want to do, right? If you want to like change the HP thresholds and all that, or if you just want to up the damage, that's fine. That's like quick fix number 1. And then quick fix number 2 is like, I mean, less quick, but still kind of quick, is like the cannonball situation is kind of miserable.
Yeah, it's bad.
So yeah, if they could figure out what to do with cannonballs, like to retain them or to be able to get a higher source of them or something like that, I think having more damage plus that is going to make the experience, plus an auto retaliate, like those are things that could be, without having to rework the whole system, could be implemented and could lead it to being like much more satisfying. And then when you start to introduce, you know, something more complex down the line, like a boss on the water, then combat starts to feel a little bit better. So I don't necessarily think they have to like rework the whole thing, but I think those like suggestions that you're mentioning and I'm mentioning will like help to smooth it out quite a bit.
Yeah. There's actually a few points on the damage thing. Actually, first I'll say this. We need to be able to click the crystal extractor while under attack. And we also need to be able to salvage while under attack, as in like sort the salvage. You can't use that station when your boat's under attack. Your character is chilling, but your boat's under attack, and so you can't do it. That's so stupid that you can't click a crystal extractor unless you're right tick perfect with one creature attacking you. But if you have any more, it's over. Like, you're not gonna be able to harvest it.
Dude, what they need to do with the extractor too, like, and like they could solve it through actually like changing the combat itself, but when they nerf the extractor again, which I feel like it will happen, and it becomes like, I think it should become like 50 XP, like it should give like very little XP, and it should just be focused on giving you a win mote and maybe some crystal shards. But someone mentioned in my comments that if they nerfed it, like they should just make it like a 1-tick action. You shouldn't have to sit there for like 3-4 ticks to harvest.
You're totally right.
It should be like click and you get it.
You're totally right.
I mean, you could do that even now, right? It doesn't really change the XP per hour, like by a couple ticks. But especially if they nerf it to the point where it's use cases for extra wind and stuff like that, I would definitely think about trying to make that like a 1-tick action.
Yeah, if that was one, that would feel so much better. You're totally right. That would basically solve it. When it comes to saving cannonballs, there's 2 different things I want to mention, which is, and then I'll talk about like the damage scaling. But I would love to say, this is actually an idea that came from my Twitch chat. Some guy was saying, what if there was not a crystal extractor, but a crystal attractor, similar to the Ava's attractor, Ava's sort of thing. So now, you know how it takes a minute to like fully be ready to harvest? This would be something where you activate it and it's just like an attachment to the crystal extractor, but having it activated and not harvesting it allows you to now start saving cannonballs, maybe like 50% of them. So just maybe the crystal extractor really is used mainly for just harvesting when you're not doing anything in combat related, and then you actually want to keep it on and keep that like attractor sort of crystal vibe going on, and that's now allowing you to save half your cannonballs. So it's like now,
cool idea,
now only one's being shot out. Or that was like a brilliant idea, I thought. I don't think it actually needs to have anything to do with the crystal extractor. It could just be the cannons. If you build it with a certain, I don't know, a little piece from Ava, then she allows you to save half your cannonballs. The other, so that's option 1 and option 2. These are not mutually exclusive, but I really do think stationary ballistas would go fucking hard on a ship. And I think it also allows you to be able to use javelins that we probably have loads of. If anybody listening has grinded a bunch of DT2 bosses, you know how many javelin heads you've gotten and how many javelins you have. So being able to use those and also have that sort of Ava's device saving half of them, and then you could have different weaknesses. So certain creatures on the sea are actually weaker to cannonballs, but ultimately everything can work. I think would be a really interesting move. So what are your thoughts about that?
I think like weapon diversity in general is something that like would be cool to see, and I think that's something that we'll eventually see in sailing. I don't know if that's like a next year thing or a year after that, or but yeah, I think a ballista is a perfect match. I think some sort of like close range one would be cool as well. That does like a good amount of damage, but you can only use like one side and be super close range. That could be cool. Now, in terms of ammo saving, I think it comes down to doing something on your boat or a facility or something like that that could save ammo. Also, like I was just thinking about it now, like why not like be able to put somebody on a salvaging hook during combat and have them like salvage the cannonballs you're firing into the water or something like that.
Ooh,
right?
There we go. Yeah, no, that's genius. If somehow
it's already using, then everybody on your boat's kind of doing something. You have two people on the cannon, you have at least one person on the hook, and then maybe you can save some cannonballs that way.
And they already get placed like that. That is an item that can be placed in the cargo hold, so it's perfect.
Exactly, so I think that could be maybe an idea you can go with it, or maybe it's something that you add to your salvaging hook to be able to do that. But I mean, that's what a salvaging hook does: is it grabs things at the bottom of the water, and there's a ton of cannonballs here.
Yep.
Because you're firing them, so that could be like a direction they go as well.
Totally
I also
right.
think like maybe that Fremennik warship, speaking of salvaging, like that should give a good amount of cannonballs. Like
yes.
Just that way it's not always merchant shipwrecks the whole way through. Maybe that could be a decent source of cannonballs as well. But
you're right.
That's a little bit different. But
I think
ammo saving is important. Definitely.
I think that was actually a missed opportunity when you're talking about different salvaging spots, having them be drastically different. I know they are technically different in a lot of ways, but making it so there still is the incentive to, let me go back to this salvage. It's going to be a little bit less XP, but man, the cannonballs are so lucrative there. Or I'm just looking for, I don't know, fucking gems or seeds or whatever else. And like they all have their individual uniqueness. They already kind of do, but they're all so crappy when it comes to giving cannonballs, for example. Like, it just takes like hours to get like 5. Just like, all right.
Oh yeah, it's nuts. And I think they were very conservative with it on purpose. But there's like no reason to not move to like the next salvaging spot when you get the level.
Totally.
Like, and to add a little bit of diversity, you could make some of those higher ones a little bit more useful by giving them something like a good amount of cannonballs. Because you could fix it through ammo saving, but you also have to think about how to fix it through like source, right?
Yep.
And if you're having to make the cannonballs, then that factors in like the entire economy of bars and ores. If you're getting the cannonballs as is, you can be a little bit more like liberal because they're only used for one thing, right? So you can drop like 100. Yeah, well, maybe not 100, but you can drop like a good amount of cannonballs without messing up the economy. You can't drop, ruined bars like crazy because that would be a problem, right?
Yep.
So yeah, why not the Fremennik shipwreck? Give a good amount. I mean, the cannonball stall was a complete disappointment, right? Like
you're getting 1, right?
It's so little. The XP is
so
amazing.
Dumb.
It's a training method at the end of the day because like the XP is amazing.
It's still imbalanced to fuck. Like it's just come on. Like think for a little bit. Like if you're stealing cannonballs, give us cannonballs. Don't give us 1 every. I don't even know. And isn't it like a variety of them? So you don't even get like the high tier ones?
Okay. Have you done that method?
I have
by the way,
I have not.
Okay.
I haven't even. Yeah. I think I looked at the wiki table and said 1. But
it's just like I think it's just rare. It's rarity, right? So, but when you're doing the method, what you do, it's a very satisfying training method, and it's good XP, and it's based on they have all these stalls around you, and based on your level, you're going to steal from 2 of them. And the way it works is the guards rotate, so you like steal from your main one 4 times, and then steal from your secondary one 2 times, and it's like this easy, simple loop.
That's cool.
But what's funny is when you're at the high level, you're stealing from the merchant. You're stealing from the cannonball stall, and you're stealing from the ore stall, because those are the 2 highest XP. And I feel like I would literally end up making more rune cannonballs, stealing like an addy cannonballs, stealing the ore from the table than the actual like, cannonball stall. I bet you if I timed it and banked that ore and went to go blast furnace it, I'd probably end up with more cannonballs at the higher tier than I would at this stall. The method is incredible. It's a good thieving method. It's just maybe it should have been like a little bit. It should be definitely be better in terms of cannonballs, and if they have to nerf the XP a little bit for that, I'm totally fine with that. It doesn't even like thieving is good. Like there's always methods for thieving, so you don't really have to. But yeah, that stall needs a lot more.
Yeah, I want to try it out because it would be cool if they actually just pumped up the cannonballs to a reasonable degree. I do feel like their worry is maybe like bots or something, but you can't worry about that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I do think, again, I would actually need to try out the method, but there's surely a number that's more than one that would still be balanced and still feel good. And like you said, if they just needed to tone back the XP to allow it to give more cannonballs, that'd be great. The other thing is, have you been to Grimstone yet? Have you used that furnace?
Yes. Yeah, I've tried a little bit of it. It's not great. Yeah.
There needs to be a bank there. What are we doing here? Why did we turn?
I mean, just do the same method I'm doing. Sailor amulet back to bank, house to get your own fairy ring or whatever, and just teleport back. Like I don't know.
A super AFK method into an active method now using this, and it's somebody said tick perfect. Basically, it's only 20% faster.
20. I thought it was like maybe 50, 60%. 20 is
no. It's
nuts.
20% faster than.
But it's so much more work. Yeah,
it's so much more effort. Yeah, it's because for those that don't know, there's a fairy ring to get to this furnace on Grimstone that requires 87 sailing. First of all, pretty crazy requirement already, 87 sailing. But you start using it and it goes twice as fast, which is great, but you're only having to do with the double cannon mold, you're already only doing like 13 actual actions there. So you're saving, however many ticks, which is still a decent chunk of ticks. But the problem is then you need to telly out, you need to go to a bank, then you need to telly to your POH, then you need to run to the fairy ring, go to the fairy ring, then you click on the furnace to finally go back. And there's a full on like 8 ticks or something just to go from the fairy ring to the furnace or something, maybe it's 6 or something. But it's like, why are we doing this when I can just go to Shiloh Village, click the furnace, click the bank, click the furnace, click the bank, and it's like 4 ticks away, and I can just full AFK. I can AFK for longer, and it's just 20% slower. It's like it's barely any slower. And this is it's an active activity when you're actually doing the 20% faster on Grimstone. And whenever are you going to be prioritizing making cannonballs in your active time playing? Like, nobody wants to do that. So it's terrible, and they need to make it so there's a bank chest there that you can build with like the magic stone and whatever else.
Yeah, actually make it double speed basically, right? By
yeah, like they need
basically to do like a couple ticks away.
Yeah, it's stupid the way they've designed it. It's so stupid. There needs to be a bank chest there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they could do someone who unnotes and stuff, but I think like a bank chest is just easiest. Yeah.
All right, welcome to the Sebe cast number 267 with Travag for his second appearance just this year. So I want to spend today talking about the ins and outs of sailing and where your head is at when it comes to sailing, what you would want to see in the future, and maybe even updates to sailing that you would want to see prioritized over others, things that are most important to get fixed or revamped or whatever else. So I guess before we jump in, let's just get just a brief introduction of who you are again for those that haven't watched your first episode earlier this year.
All right, sweet. Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Travag. I am a content creator on YouTube. I focus obviously on old school RuneScape, and generally my content is either commentary focused or video essay focused or guide focused. So kind of a blend between those. And we also talk about like new updates and stuff like that. So sort of like Sebe, with probably just a little more editing. is generally the difference between me and you.
A little bit more planning, a little bit more effort put in, yeah.
No, not effort, just editing. Just
yeah, well, thank
editing.
you. You're being very polite. I appreciate it.
So yeah, that's my channel, and once in a while we do a live stream here or there, but right now we're focused more or less on making content, and it's been a bit of a frenzy with sailing, definitely the past, not even just since release. Like I was releasing videos up until release, through the alpha, beta, and then obviously like the week before. And actually, I think one of my kind of prep videos, which I did months before the release, was referenced in like the Jagex blog, which I did not expect at all because
Oh wow.
it was like a little bit older, but it was still kind of relevant. So that was cool to see as well.
Okay, yeah. So, and I'm assuming.
Oh fuck! We actually got one of the some dragon cannonballs. I've gotten like 3. I got 3 in the bank from like one of the previous salvages. I was like AFKing, so I didn't. Oh yeah, look at us! We've got 15 dragon cannonballs. Big Iron Man over here.
Most people probably have heard your previous episode, although there will be some that obviously haven't. I want to get the first sort of discussion point I want to talk on is, were you surprised at how successful the launch of Sailing was, especially knowing of like the alphas and the betas that were tested and stuff? Because at least in my opinion, when I was doing that first sort of beta or alpha, whatever it was that we were all testing up to level 30, I didn't even get to level 30. I couldn't bear it. It was just so painful. But so I was not. I realized that the skill was going to be so much more than what we just experienced. So I tried to remain optimistic, but I did obviously sort of push back, and I was one of those kind of critics of the skill. And if I tried to be balanced, I tried to say what was good about it, but it was just painful. So I want to kind of get your take on those initial testing periods versus what we got day one.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say I was like surprised holistically in a lot of ways. Like, I think a lot of what I saw and what I experienced was kind of what I was expecting, but there were surprising moments, right? And just, I guess one point in the holistic is like they actually pulled it off, more or less, is like the kind of, oh wow, like we actually managed to do it and it was smooth. I think the launch experience was incredible. Like, given how large of an update this was, I expected there to be like, server downtimes and everything like that. But the whole strategy of like pre-launching stuff like a week before and hours before and everything made it a pretty awesome experience. And I was like streaming that day too, so I wasn't like staring at a login screen. I was actually playing. But I wasn't too surprised, I would say, because I kind of had a good feeling of what the skill would feel like. And I remember on the first cast we were talking, and I was like hammering home this point to you about how different it feels to be on the water, and how like Barracuda trials are gonna have like this weird situation where like getting world record times is gonna be like super nuanced because of the movement and the speed and the turning. And maybe your opinion has like altered since after trying it, but like I'm seeing people going for like world record times, and it is a case where like some runs you kind of crush it and other runs you got to reset, and it's got a lot of depth to it, and it's been fun to watch. So yeah, but I haven't been participating too much in Barracuda trials, surprisingly, just given kind of a circumstance of what I was trying to do and some things that happen in real life. But yeah, no, I think overall I'd say that there were parts that were a pleasant surprise and parts that I expected to be a little rough. And generally speaking, I'm very happy with the release.
Hell yeah. Yeah, Barracuda Trials is definitely something else. It felt like to me, before it had actually dropped, I was imagining, okay, there's just going to be certain tile markers where you click them and you're just going to be able to get the optimal time every time. As long as you just understand the ticks, right. You start every run the exact same. But no, like Gwyneth.
Wait, are we dead ass? They put in the update to like where runes, if you already have a rune in your rune pouch, it just automatically goes in there. I just fucking finished my like one grind where I had to like, after salvaging a whole load, I always have to manually put the lunars back in there. And the next, I'm pretty sure, area doesn't have any rune drops, so thanks. Right after I'm done that part of my sailing ride, Jagex. Thank you. God damn it. Well, that'll still be coming in handy at some places, I'd like to imagine.
Glide is it's not even like the previous two. I mean, Jubbly Jive has like things you're throwing shit at and stuff, but with Gwyneth Glide, the thing I like about it is the speed boosting that you're constantly having to engage with, and that alone has provided a sort of like ability to go faster or slower, like just like it's those little things that all add up. I mean, because technically you could just get the perfect run. I've actually watched several YouTube videos now of like I think it was QHP I saw originally. He had like a compass on his mini map of like showing, it was like A through M or something, and it was like it was like all 16 or whatever the first 16 letters of the alphabet are, but whatever that was, he had it on his mini map, and so he basically just memorized like a certain code and would just click that. But there's obviously so much more nuance to it, especially because he didn't I think he had the world record run at that point, but now it's been beat several times over again. And I think GE Challenge as well, like watching his runs was really interesting and just fascinating to see. And I think even that's been beat now. So it is really, really cool. I think there will eventually come a point where we know for sure this world record cannot be beat, because there has to be a limit, obviously, unless there's like some glitch. But ultimately, there is an extreme amount of nuance, and there's more nuance to it than, like you said, like Hello.
There's a higher ceiling. Like it's a higher ceiling to reach. And I mean, a lot of speedrunning games do have that cap or even theoretical cap. And, you know, unlike RuneScape, where we've had cases where it's like, click this tile at this time, right? This case with sailing has a lot more. And, you know, in other games, they'll be like, hey, there's this like shadowy part on the rock you need to bounce off of. Like that's what you're aiming for. And it's like, that's kind of what it feels like a little bit more, where you're not relying on like a square to go on. You're relying a little bit more on maybe setting up that, you know, A through M pattern, or knowing exactly kind of what area you need to click on in order to get like the optimal turn and when to use your boost. Like there's a lot more. So yeah, just the ceiling's going to be higher. And we might have a case where we have a record and it's like, wow, that's the record. And then like a year from now, somebody breaks it.
Yeah,
by, like,
no, it's true.
A second or something. So
and I think I mean, you were totally right in that previous conversation. It's coming back to me. I think we were almost like debating whether it was actually going to be something as complex,
as solved or not.
Yeah. And I was definitely on the side of like, this shit's going to be figured out like immediately, and it's just going to be these constant just run overs. But the other thing that's fascinating about it is I see people slowing down to pick up a crate. You know, they click one tick on the slow down, click it back on, and like that's the kind of stuff that you wouldn't normally think about. Because, for example, like in Hallowed Sepulchre, actually, funnily enough, there actually are a couple situations where you do walk like a tile and then start running again. But for the vast majority of it, it is just running. You're really wanting to go as fast as you can. But it's a super interesting course too, because there's different ways to navigate. With Hallowed Sepulchre, it's just, you know where the end point is, and there's not a bunch of crates you need to pick up. So it's a little bit different, and you can always create a different path slightly if you wanted to. So it's interesting stuff. Just to be totally honest and transparent, I've only completed an actual like ranked thing in the Barracuda trials on mobile when I was first just going for my whatever that little heart shape is to get the crystal extractor. I did that shit on mobile. It was just pure agony. No, like there was no markings of the crates or anything else, and I was on hotel Wi-Fi. Just terrible, but we got it done. So the only issue, though, the last thing I'll say on this is the Barracuda trials are totally up my alley. I can see them being something that I would truly, truly enjoy long term. The only issue is that it's just for XP. And when you're playing sailing on an Iron Man, there's more to the skill than just getting to 99 or getting to...
AKA doing salvaging. I guess, and like the
whatever
trawling,
anybody's doing. There's a whole ship upgrade system that you need to upgrade, which takes hundreds of hours, I'm guessing, to even just pimp out one ship on an Iron Man. And ultimately, you're going to want to pimp out maybe a couple or maybe even 3 ships. So I am now training the skill with combat and other things like that just to build up my ship. So there's really no incentive for me to be doing Barracuda trials and even port tasks ultimately, because I already do have the pet, and I have 2 pets actually. But
oh yeah, you got the pet. Okay.
Anyway, that's a little bit on my... I wonder, though, like, do you think Barracuda Trials is balanced where it's at, where there's really no rewards? There's a couple unlocks you get. There's obviously the paints. And then there's just the super high XP, right? Do you think that's enough for those trials to be in a good spot?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of thoughts here. First point, and I think we'll talk about this a little bit more later, but I'll throw it out there. In the future, I'm expecting higher level Barracuda trials. And the XP is already so high that are we just going to push that higher? And I don't know if that's the right choice. So I'm thinking maybe the next tier of Barracuda trial can have something else where, yeah, you're still going to get good XP rates, maybe equal to Glide, maybe even a little bit lower, maybe a little bit, I don't know the balance, but there's that additional factor to it where maybe it's GP focused or resource focused so that you can do something like a trial without strictly going for XP. But I think we'll talk about that a little bit later. But something I do want to touch on here, which is probably one of the downsides for me personally with sailing, at least from like an Iron Man perspective, is like there are so many items that you need to go for to upgrade your boat. And you could say why, like you don't really need to upgrade your boat, but I'm the type of player that it's there. I want to try to get the best in slot. I want to try to be prepared for any future launches. So I'm trying to do these things. And I have the exact same feelings towards you. Like I'm not doing trials because I could use my XP to 99 in a more effective way, right?
Yeah.
Port tasks is an example where I could do port tasks because I don't have the pet, right? And it's a really good pet chance, but still, I think I'd rather do that post 99 anyways.
Yeah.
So, and maybe do like the quicker methods that are low
And you
XP.
might get the pet from upgrading your ship as well.
I might get, exactly. So you have all these items you have to go for, and generally speaking, I'm okay with them, and I'm okay with them being rare. And a lot of times when you're going for the items, you're not getting crazy XP unless you're like min-maxing like a bounty tasks and stuff like that. But the XP is fairly low that you should be able to generally get the items you're going for on your way to 99. But the one that like really strikes me as like problematic is the salvaging one, the dragon barrel, the cannon.
Yep.
Because it's.
I'm gonna be on that grind eventually. I want to at least. I don't want to burn all my fucking super restores on this grind here. Like I have better things to be doing probably than just grinding for this in specific. But yeah. Once I've done like 1,000 of these at least just to get a feel of like what dragon items I'm gonna get. Like I've killed 148 and the only dragon unique is literally those 12 dragon cannibals I got earlier. Like they're one of the rare kind of drops. But I'm hoping to get dragon nails and hopefully a dragon sheet or two in these 1,000 kills, and then probably go back to like I've got the last thing to salvage from what these guys are just bringing up. I'll need to do that anyways to get like the dragon cannon drop because it only comes from salvaging. So fuck my Iron Man life, I guess. Back to these guys.
It's pretty rare, which is fine, but it's set up in a way where once you get to level 87, like if you're trying to just go on rate to get 2 of them, it's like you're practically getting to 99 or beyond. If you go dry, I know people. Someone in my comments said they're at 20 million experience and they have 1.
Speaking of dragon cannibals,
that experience to me, I don't. It's kind of putting me in a corner where I want to do port tasks. I want to do a little bit of trials here and there, right? And I can't. Like in my own mind, I'm thinking, well, no, I should get my barrels first, 100%. Yep. So I'm stuck here salvaging. I'm logging out when I'm salvaging because it's so far away. I'm like basically not leaving this spot until I get the second barrel, and I think that's a bit limiting, in my opinion. So
yeah, the rarities again. It's like you think the hours put in kind of makes sense.
With my salvaging luck, I feel like I'll get these 2 cannonballs easy peasy, lemon squeezy. In my opinion, pretty sure that's what we'll end up doing because I've had like multiple 3,000, 1 in 3,000 drops like for the XP lamps. Like I've gotten multiples throughout my salvaging grind, so should just call it skill salvaging rather than like sailing, to be honest. But yeah.
For if it was a PVM item, for example, that you're trying to go, that's best in slot PVM item, that makes sense because I think it's what 35-ish hours doing 1.5 ticking most likely. Isn't it like 60 hours to get one?
God, I don't even know the hours because I'm just thinking in the time frame of getting to 99.
Like I've rewatched the entirety of Dexter, like the first 8 seasons.
I don't actually know the hours, but somebody,
like,
I haven't done the math myself, but I think somebody in my chat said it was about, 60 hours just to get one.
Yeah.
And that's like the AFK. So who knows how AFK they were, but
I'm most of the time I'm trying to do double crewmate because it's like less XP. I'm like trying to reduce my XP per hour so that I won't hit 99 before getting 2. But at least I'm more AFK, right? I can play something else. I can go whatever.
Yeah.
Even right now in the cast, like I'm on the hook, but I'm like, ooh, should I be on the hook? Should I just chill? I don't know. It's long, and again, I don't care about it being rare necessarily. I think a couple things. Well, the price of it is super low right now.
That's strange to me, but yeah.
I think it's because no one needs it.
It makes sense
you don't
because
need it.
Who even wants to? What main has that much incentive to kill shit out on the sea when all you're getting is just more
really
shit to help you
want to
kill
grind
shit
it
on
out.
sea?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it will go up in price
shit.
eventually when we get something to do out at sea, which is happening in 2026. There's going to be like a small scale boss. And when there's a lot less people salvaging because they've hit 99. So the price right now, I'm not like overly concerned that it's like mega cheap. Like main should cash in on that ahead of time, if anything. But I think eventually it will go up a little bit. But I think personally that the barrel itself shouldn't be, you shouldn't get it from salvaging. Like I would prefer to get it from like a creature, like either out at sea or on an island or something like that, because those tend to give lower XP overall. Like frost dragons, I mean, I'm not over the moon with the frost dragon situation, right? And I do think there needs to be better sources, but at least while I'm doing them, it's like I'm not putting myself in the same position with salvaging where I'm kind of pushing myself to 99 just trying to get something. It's completely separated. So I would prefer that the cannon barrel was actually not given from salvaging and it was somewhere else. And then you could compensate, I think, by making salvaging give like a little bit more nails and maybe give it like a dragon sheet drop. So that it's still like good to do and it's still profitable in that sense, but you're not like forced to do it because you can get dragon sheets and nails elsewhere. You can get them AFK through this. Like I think that would have been a better approach, and I would be doing port tasks more to 99 and Barracuda trials. I'd blend a little bit more than what I'm currently doing.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think that's actually one of the better moves to make it so salvaging kind of has a super rare role of basically everything. It's like there's a chance of getting sheets, there's a chance of getting nails, and just throw other things on there that are just stupid rare, but it's not the only fucking source of it. So I'm totally with you. I think the dragon cannon barrel should come from somewhere else. If they threw on a sheet to salvaging at a 1 in 15,000 or so, just something crazy, that at least it would be fine knowing I can get this, but I'm not forced to get it here, and we can just throw it on the table.
I think Dragon Cannon's something like you need like 8 sheets or something like that to build it, right?
Yeah.
So you have 1 in 20k to get it, and then 8 sheets. It's like, so I wouldn't put it at like 1 in 15k. I'd probably make it like a 1 in like 8k drop or something like that for a sheet.
Okay.
So you can maybe get like a couple a week, just kind of AFKing.
Yeah.
Like I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah. No, I'd be cool with that. I wouldn't want it to be like a 1 in 2k or anything too extreme though, because I think it would encourage more diversity to be like, okay, you're kind of looking at all the drop tables and being like, okay, let me go kill frost dragons for the majority of my sheets, and then let's go here for maybe a few extra sheets that I'll get. Because like sharks, for example, I have 1 hook, I'm going for 1 more, but I've gotten a bunch of sheets from it, so I'm like, hell yeah. So
yeah, I want to do vampire krakens because they give sheets and they give the keel and large keel parts, right?
Yep. I mean, that's the same with sharks too. I've actually gotten 2 of the large keel parts from like 1,700 sharks I've killed. It's insane. It's like 1 in 6,000. Like the rates. Listen, so we're gonna have to jump into the sort of combat overall. I don't know how much combat you've done, actually, but I've done a decent amount. I haven't done vampire krakens yet. Most of it's just been through sharks. Did a few bounty tasks, but again, it's like we both agree there's plenty of XP that you're going to be getting. So I'm not even worried about doing bounty tasks because it's just going to throw more obstacles in my way to like, oh, I've gotten my parts. Let me go turn it into 3 separate ports just to go back and get a little bit of XP. Like, I don't care. I'd rather get my 10k XP just cannoning and basically AFKing. But yeah, there's a lot to be said about combat. I want to first get your thoughts overall with at least the combat you've got to experience so far. What are your overall thoughts on it?
Yeah, so combat. Okay, so Heading into the alpha and the beta, I knew combat was going to be like a weak point in the skill. It wasn't available in the alpha at all. And they said they weren't ready to show it off, right? And then in the beta, it was a little bit clear that like, and they even mentioned, I think maybe even on your cast, that like combat was a struggle to find like the right like way to do it, like and it felt awkward. And they figured out this method, which is very like, you know, point and click, and it works. Like it's serviceable, but it is, I think, one of the weaker parts of sailing, and I don't think many people disagree with that. In terms of what I like about it, really, the only thing I kind of like about it is that there's like a somewhat interesting targeting system where you can, you know, attack one thing with 3 different sources.
Out on the AFK XP, kind of, but ultimately it still would be worth doing this, especially if you're going to be like doing any form of tick manipulation with the actual salvaging hooks.
So no break for you in between your 1.5 ticking.
Yeah, I mean there would be a break. It would just be half the break.
A little more chill, yeah.
Yeah,
you click twice, quick time or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
click.
Yeah.
I'm just
wait. Are you saying like I thought you were thinking like Giant's Foundry, where like you click on like the critical hit or something, and it like does two at once?
No. I'm saying more like an herb.
Like literally a quick
patch.
sort. Okay.
I'm saying like you click twice, even if it was well, here let me just stick with what I was originally saying, which was just treating it like an herb patch or an allotment patch, where you can just click the herb patch one time, get singular harvests, 1 every 3 ticks, or you can start spamming it and then release, and now you're getting 2 every 3 ticks. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Okay. I've never done that with allotment patches, but yeah.
Yeah, with herb patches and with allotment. So like if you go and start harvesting your snape grass, you can actually just spam click it at first, and you start getting 2 every 3 ticks. I think something like that could be interesting for the sorting salvaging, and make it so there's a trade-off where you can do it just single time speed. You're gonna get the XP for every single one, but you could do the double as well. But then you're still only getting the same XP per hour, so you're losing the XP for half of your salvage, but you're speeding it up in a way. Like, I don't know. Maybe this is like a bit too just not worth it for some people. They would rather just AFK it, but I think it would be cool maybe to have an option to speed up that cannon grind, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think that's something. Maybe in the future they could have an upgraded salvaging station that allows that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
An upgraded an upgraded sorting station, maybe that.
Yeah. Sorry, sort station. Yeah.
No.
That would.
You're right. It is a salvaging station. I was thinking of because a salvaging hook, salvaging station. What if, in your eyes, what could it be though that makes it so it's upgraded without being overpowered?
So you could just make it sort salvage like 1 tick quicker. Like it's just a generally quicker process. Right, but then it's just a straight up upgrade at that point.
Yeah, that
like
is
that's not a choice.
That's 50% more XP per hour too, just from the sorting, which sorting's already pretty damn good. So that's my concern.
Yeah. So I don't know, or it gives you the option to do that. Right, to like speed it up.
Would it be like a lower XP per sort if you did that, or is
probably
it like...
yeah, probably.
Because I would.
I don't know.
Okay
I haven't really thought about that. Yeah, it's because so you're just generally wanting to get to the hook quicker. So you want to salvage.
Well, I'm not trying to get to the hook quicker.
Sorry, not the hook, the cannon.
I mean, yeah. I'm trying to just get the unique faster. So what is a way of doing that without breaking XP rates, but also making it feel somewhat like it's still part of the game? Because already my idea fails the test of like, I don't want any part of it to feel like shit. So if I'm losing XP for half of my salvages sorting, that's not going to feel great. But at the same time, there's the payoff of like having it done quick. I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
Maybe this isn't necessarily quicker, but it's another way. But maybe, I mean, we'll have to figure out the menus. If you could have put a crew member on this sort station. Oh god, but then they don't know what to do with the loot. That's the thing.
That's the one issue.
Because then they could give reduced XP, and then it might not be quicker, but at least you could be doing other things like still tick manipulating and stuff like that.
That would be exactly it. You're right. That would be good.
Yeah, but they don't know what to do with the loot. So unfortunately.
Ooh. Okay, think about this. Let me know your thoughts. A bank deposit box on your ship.
Oh man, that's so strong. Yeah.
Let me How strong is it though? Like I understand you can bank all your loot, so there's no dropping.
Yeah.
Which is obviously very powerful, but that would at least allow somebody else to sort for you, and then all they're doing is just depositing into the bank. So it brings out an option. It's also
it would break deep sea trolling completely.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's the whole loop there of filling up your cargo and then going back, and that's what I wanted more of that in sailing, by the way, and I'm so happy that deep sea trolling did that. Salvaging, I love the salvaging thing, don't get me wrong. The places that you're looting are far from docks as well, so it would be annoying to go back and forth, but I always had this vision that we would go out, get a ton of something, and then go back and kind of sort through our stuff, you know.
You're totally right, dude. That was that feels better, but at this point in time it would feel worse because we're so spoiled.
It would feel worse.
Yeah.
Now, if they made the XP really good for sorting, and because you're going to the dock, then you could still make the XP rates overall the same, but it's much more active to go back and forth, and it's far.
Yeah.
So this is fine because deep sea trolling, I have that fantasy there anyways. So I don't know about a deposit box because it'd just be so hard to balance, and yeah, it would break certain activities, I'm sure.
Okay, that's fair.
Also, like, I know they changed it. If your boat capsizes, you lose stuff in your cargo?
Yeah, I think you lose all the cargo.
Yeah, so imagine it's like, I'm about to capsize, let me just deposit everything, right?
Yeah.
Or if there's any version of PvP in the future, any version, this is probably years from now, then yeah. But
Totally
I don't think there's too much that needs to be done with salvaging. I think salvaging's in a pretty good place. I think if you want to get the unique quicker, you have tick manipulation, and I think that, again, I think the barrel should come from somewhere else anyways. Because it doesn't feel like it fits as well in salvaging.
Okay. Let me get your take on, well, so I have not done any trawling yet, so I actually want to hear that, but I also want to get your take on port tasks.
Yes.
So those have
port
all
tasks.
Port tasks I feel like have really been figured out these days, where it's pretty good. So
yeah.
I want to hear your just tell me exactly like how good can port tasks end up being. What are metas for pets, for example? Because I think there's some weird metas where like you're getting way worse XP per hour, but you're just going back and forth between like some short ports. So yeah, go into that.
Yeah. So port tasks. I think port tasks out of the 3 core trading methods is probably my favorite because it's like a solid mix of intensity and XP. It's not as frustrating as a Barracuda trial in terms of like if you mess up, you got to, I mean, most of the time you don't reset now, but still, if you mess up, you're wasting potentially 10 seconds making, a rotation to grab a crate or something like that. Like port tasks are like a good amount of intensity, and they require just a little bit of thinking. That's becoming more and more brain dead with plugins. But what you can expect from port tasks when you reach the point where you're doing like, the Barracuda trials at the end, the Gwyneth Clyde, with like an ironwood hull, I was getting 175 to 180k per hour, the rates, which is very like competitive, very good rates. And if I had a rosewood hull, which I would probably stick on my skiff because it's much cheaper, it would be over 200k. So over 200k sounds really good considering like Barracuda trials are, I don't know what, 230k, 240 high end, maybe a little more. And it's just a more chill experience. And the things that I like about it, you can interact with a lot of sea randoms, which there's a lot of benefit there, like getting your pearls and your log slots. Best way to get them, other than trying to force them, is probably doing port tasks because they pop up fairly. Because it seems like sea randoms are based on how much you're traveling and loading chunks, right? So it's great for that. The event, the one event where you get those blue things showing up on the water that give XP.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Like, I actually love that event. Sometimes it's annoying where the direction they go, but it scales based on your level, right? So, like, at my level in, like, the mid-90s, I'm getting, like, 4,000 experience for doing that event, right? Which is really good. And then in, like, the mid-80s or something, it's, like, 2,000 experience, right? Like, every time you reach a new threshold, you're doubling the experience that you're getting from that activity. And then there's a couple other randoms that are, castaways and stuff like that for more XP. So it's great for interacting with that. It's great because you take advantage of your charting more than anything else through port tasks because you're unlocking rapids everywhere. And when you have those rapids unlocked, like, you're utilizing them and you're bumping your XP per hour. And the overall loop, like the system, I personally, when I was playing in the beta, I wasn't a fan of the ABA tasks, the tasks where it's like you're starting here, you're going somewhere, and then bringing it back. I wasn't a fan of those, and I was already thinking like, well, why not just teleport to the starting location anyways? So in some ways, I wish those just didn't exist for simplicity. Like it was just go to a location.
Yeah.
But we do have this method, and when you're using the method of Lunar Isle, etc., and Relica, you get in a very comfortable loop. There's like very obvious tasks that you're going for, and then you're always starting back in Alderaan or Sunset Coast or Deepfin. It depends what your area is the most southern. And then there's also, now a lot of people will say that port tasks are very RNG based, right? Oh, I got a bad board and now my XP rates are tanked. This is like not 100% true, because in Alderaan and in Prif, there's always a there's like on certain boards there's always a task. So in Alderaan there's always a task that brings you to Prif, and then in Prif there's always a task that brings you to Lunar Isle. So even if you don't fill up your board, you can always get that task in Alderaan and always get that task in Prif, and it's like a total of like 5,500 experience. But yeah, I'm getting into the weeds of experience and whatnot, but overall, it's like, to me, it's a very satisfying method that requires a little bit of learning and thinking, but it's like one of those ones where you can like just chill, you can watch videos and stuff like that, because it becomes pretty second nature, and it's got a really good pet chance as well. Now, if you're going for the pet, I think I did the calculations. It was much low. Like this is if you're doing the high XP method, it was still much lower than anything else, like by far. But if you want to get the fastest rate, I think the method is you are going to Alderaan and you're accepting Alderaan to Sunset Coast or Sunset Coast back to Alderaan tasks. There's like 2 tasks, and you just constantly pick those 2 tasks as they show up and just go back and forth between Sunset and Alderaan, which is like a 10-second drive. And it's the best way to get a pet with low XP. And you could also take advantage of this like cool tech as well, which I do with all my tasks, but especially there. I don't know if you know this, but when you're disembarking, if you click your boat in like the opposite direction right before disembarking, when you disembark, your boat continues to rotate.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Oh man, it does like a full 180.
Yeah.
Right. So when you're going to certain ports, like if you're doing the pet hunting, for example, you can 180 Sunset Coast back to Alderaan. Although I think for that one you're just teleporting back to Alderaan, so it's not applicable to that. But for any of the other port tasks, like if I'm going to Civitas or something like that, you do like this beautiful 180, and it's so satisfying.
So is there any sort of navigational controls, or is it as soon as you're entering that area, click back, and then the very next tick, click disembark, and then it does
and as long as you did, so normally it'll do a wide turn, right, when you're doing that, so you won't like, but as soon as you leave your boat, it does that sharp turn. It stays still. Yep. And it'll literally rotate for 5 seconds.
Oh, that's
like
so good. See, it's funny because I only know about that because of all the fucking misclicks I've done while killing great white sharks. And my boat will just do a full ass 180 or something, or even when I've like reversed, it just does some crazy stuff. Even when I was on mobiles trying to go to a singular salvage spot here and there, it would do this stupid reverse whenever I misclick. So I know exactly what you're talking about. But it's cool that it actually has a legitimate use for
it does. It saves you a lot of time. Like it actually saves a lot of time, because turning around can take it takes quite a few ticks. So port tasks, I love port tasks. I wish I could do them more. I do wish that they I thought that they were going to be a little bit better in terms of like resource, like GP stuff. So you're getting GP equal to your XP, so it's horrible. It's like 200k an hour. So it's not good. I wish that they gave like little, I don't know, loot boxes or something at the end, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that. That would have been good for port tasks. Also, there's like this weird tech I wish I can figure out. So you know the crates that you can find from sea randoms? Like a lost oak crate, lost mahogany crate, those ones that pop up. So you see a lot of them when you're doing port tasks, right? Like I say a lot, it's relative, but port tasks are the most events. So you see those pop up a lot. And the highest tier 1 Ironwood has a 1 in 8 shot of dropping dragon sheets.
Oh,
right?
shit. Okay.
Yeah. So, but you need like 95 sailing plus. But it's like, if you look at the wiki, it's like super rare even when you're at like 95 plus to see Ironwood crate, and then it's a 1 in 8. So it's like, if those were better, it would like actually help to make port tasks even better, because if you're optimizing for the clam event for like, you know, high alks, and then you're also getting those crates here and there, and maybe getting a couple dragon sheets here and there, at least you're getting something out of Poor Task. Because right now it's really just the clams, and I have yet to see an Ironwood crate. I haven't seen one.
Okay, yeah, that's terrible then. I was thinking like 1 in 8. Shit. No,
Yeah.
if you haven't even seen one, that's not good.
I think I just Ironwood crate. Let me look. I think I just hit the level for it. What is it? Oh yeah, it only at 95 sailing. I literally hit 95 sailing during our this call. So now I can start seeing them. But I hadn't even seen a Camphor crate, which is lower. So Camphor is 85, and I haven't seen one yet. Have you seen a Camphor crate?
No, I haven't. I don't think I've seen any crates. I haven't really done any port tasks though, besides in the early days.
Oh no, you haven't been moving on the water and seeing crates?
Yeah,
That's
sailing.
crazy.
I'm a better sailor than you though, dudes. I wouldn't be talking 96 over here.
That's true.
Never
Well,
moved my
no, to be
boat.
honest, because you don't see random events when you're doing Barracuda Trials, and you don't see random events when you're doing salvaging.
Yep.
Right, and Port Task is the least popular of the three options. So, yeah, I guess people aren't seeing a lot of those. But I'm a big fan. Port Tasks are a good method.
That's good. I mean, I would do it if I was like a pet hunter that didn't already have 2 fucking soups. It's cool that I feel like it's very well balanced, but you're right. Those crates need to be more common.
Or give it its own reward. That's a case where it's like that to me. Salvaging has a few cases where you can get some iron nails, right? Or sorry, some dragon nails, some dragon cannonballs. Like, it doesn't make sense that Port Tasks don't give something similar to that, right? I mean, just an alternate way to get like dragon nails or dragon sheets. Right?
Even if Port Tasks had like a system like Mahogany Homes where you actually have port points, like you've done enough and you're just stacking up points and then you eventually can spend it at a shop.
Yeah.
That's like, you've done this many deliveries, here you go, like spend your points on all these cool upgrades for your ship, like dragon sheets and stuff. Just buy them.
Yeah, or ironwood crates that you open and then...
Ooh, even better, right? Yeah, if it still had that RNG element to it, like the kind of reward crate.
Yeah, and they could like retroactively add that, because if you go to your captain's log, it tells you how many tasks you've completed. So they can like give you the points. Now, if the points are
cool.
If the points are based on tasks completed, then again, that becomes the meta of doing like quick tasks, like pet hunting.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but they could add something like that too. They need something in Port Tasks, in my opinion, because I think the sea randoms is a cool thing because it's organic, right? It's buffing Port Tasks simply because it works really well, but they're not often enough. 90% of the time you get the wind one, right? So they would have to, if they decide to buff sea randoms, then Port Task gets buffed. That's great. If they decide not to, then Port Task needs some sort of reward. It's less XP per hour than Barracuda Trials, so it can justify using a little bit of a reward. But yeah, it's a tough balance because you don't want to get too close to Barracuda Trials in terms of value. But I do think it needs something. Yeah,
that would be nice. Okay, is it called deep sea trawling? Is that what the official name of it?
Deep sea trawling, yeah.
So I have not participated in any of this. I've only heard great things about it. So XP wise, terrible. Fishing and sailing, I'm pretty sure, but the amount of fish is like out of control. So go through trawling as if you're talking to people that have never done it, including myself. I think I've seen a little bit of it in action, but I haven't taken like the full deep dive into understanding it fully.
Yeah, so deep sea trawling is a fishing activity you can do on your boat using your fishing nets. And yeah, you get a ton of fish. And it is, in my opinion, the best activity that was added, or the best piece of content that was added with sailing. It is very, very well done for a couple of reasons. The first thing that I absolutely love about it, so there's some criticism with sailing currently, and I think this is because it's a new skill, right? That it can feel a little bit self-contained, right? Like a lot of what you're doing in sailing is to either get 99 or get something to like improve your boat or something like that. Like you're not really doing much outside of sailing. There's like cases where you're making new potions or there's like a new hunter method, but that's not even sailing, right? Those are like different things. Deep sea trawling is like the only like strong case where it's like I am doing something with sailing that is impacting my main account, right? You are getting a lot of fish and a lot of great fish as well. So I want more of this in sailing overall. Like I want sailing to impact like a lot of, like I want there to be sailing methods that impact me when I'm not sailing, right? So deep sea trawling gets my hopes up for future things. I know they were thinking of doing like mineral dredging and stuff like that in the future. It doesn't always have to be hybrid methods, right? Like it could be a better, like we said, there could be some salvaging spots that are more focused on the items and less on the XP, right? But deep sea trawling nails it, and if this didn't exist, I would feel like sailing is like kind of going in the wrong direction in terms of it being too isolated. But that gives me a lot of hope. And then the other thing I love about deep sea trawling, I'm talking about my love for it first, and then I'll explain it a little bit further and like why and how it works. But gathering in old school RuneScape, right? We have, you know, the three main gathering skills: wood cutting, mining, and what's the other one? Fishing. The one we're talking about.
The one we're talking about, yeah.
90%, if not more, of all those activities involve clicking on something, waiting, and then either moving or clicking on it again. Like that's like most of the loop, right? There's cases of tick manipulation, 100%, right? But that's more of a player thing. But I can't think of anything in mining, fishing, and woodcutting that isn't that basic loop or like a skilling boss, like Temporos, right? Or like, I guess, forestry to some extent, Temporos, Volcano, right? Like those are skilling bosses. So unless, yeah, I think that's true, right? Can you think of anything that like isn't just like clicking on something and waiting for those three activities that isn't like a skilling boss?
Let me hear what the difference is between fishing, because
Okay.
I'm assuming that you're going to get there, and I'll see if there's anything kind of similar to that.
I'm getting there, yeah. So what I love is that, like, you know, when you think about gathering, that's what it's been largely in old school RuneScape. And deep sea trawling is like not that at all, right? You are not just clicking on a spot and waiting. It is not a mini game. It is not a skilling boss. It is a true organic gathering experience, but it's taken to like the level of 2025, if we can even say that with old school RuneScape. Even this is like MMO standard of like mid 2000s, if anything. But it's actually a form of gathering that is something more than just doing that, which I completely respect. You're moving around. You are like, or you're looking at the shoals to see what depth they're at, and you're changing your depth. You've got some methods you can do to get a little bit more as well, like spam clicking. But I just like that as a gathering method. It is like, it's kind of more modern MMO standard of gathering, and I hope that in future gathering methods that we get stuff kind of like this, where it's a little bit more active. It actually feels, yeah, it's like active skilling, I suppose, for gathering. Obviously, we have active skilling through other skills, but this is a great example of it. So if you haven't done deep sea trawling, you set up your nets and you chase these shoals around. And then you got to adjust your net's depth to either shallow, moderate, or deep, right? But only certain shoals can go to certain depths. So when you're doing like the low-level shoals, like let's say you're going there and you're getting like the log slot or whatever, the giant krill, like it's always shallow, right? So you just have to follow the shoal and stop when it stops. Super easy. The mid-tier ones only go between shallow and moderate, so you're just switching one button up, down. And then the high-tier ones, like the marlin and bluefin, they can go all three depths, right? So you have to change your depths accordingly. But the thing is, on top of that, there's also a set pattern, right? So there's a set pattern with the depths that make it a lot easier to understand and to do the high-level shoals. A lot of people think it's like super intense. It's not. So whenever a shoal has like a health bar when it lands in its spot, right? Whenever it reaches halfway on its health bar, it always goes moderate depth, provided it can, right? Like the mid-level and the high-tier shoals, it's always moderate depth. And it stays moderate depth that for its remainder of its health bar, plus when it's moving to its new location, right? So you're just on moderate depth, chasing it around, and then when it ends up in its new location, it can either go shallow or deep. And then you just follow that loop and then let's say it went shallow, then when it reaches middle, it goes to deep, to moderate again. And it's that same loop over and over. And if you're thinking about the mid-tier shoals, this means there's no thinking with them. Like, so if you're catching halibut, which are like Karamwans, it is literally, you are staying in the middle, right? When it lands on its spot, you're going shallow. You're staying on shallow until it's at the middle of the health bar. Then you're going moderate. You're staying on moderate until it reaches new location. And it's a solved loop. There's no thinking at all. And then the only thinking is for the bluefin and the marlin, where when it reaches new location, it can be shallow or deep. So you're either going up or down, but it follows the same pattern again. When it reaches halfway, it goes to moderate. I know that sounds probably confusing.
It actually sounds, I mean, even having never done it, it's making sense to me. How
Okay.
many? Well, yeah, I'll have you continue. I have a few questions, but not related.
I have one more thing I'll state about it as well that a lot of people don't notice. You can tell the depth. Like a lot of people have been looking at the chat. Oh, the shoal has moved deeper. You don't have to. The actual shoal itself, it has visual indications of what depth it's at. So when there are 2 rings pulsating, it's shallow. Plus you can see fish as well. And when it's 1 ring pulsating, like a thick one, it's moderate. And when it's 1 thin ring, it's deep. So just by knowing that, you know exactly what depth you need to be at. And the only one, again, you need to ever think at is the high-level shoals. So if we're thinking about the high-level shoal now, if it's moving and it's moderate depth, it has 1 big pulsating ring. When it reaches its new location, all you need to look at, are there 2 rings or are there 1 ring? If it's 2 rings, it's shallow. If it's 1 ring, it obviously is deep now.
Yeah.
And then you just stay on that until it switches to that thick ring again, halfway through its health bar, which is always predictable, and follow it. So between knowing the pattern, the visual indicator, deep sea trawling actually becomes pretty, like, moderate in terms of, like, activity level. It's not as high intensity as people think, and it's like a very satisfying loop, in my opinion.
And what exactly, like, so how many fish are you catching? Do you always have to do a mix? So there's, because you're saying, like, it will switch between shallow and deep with always, as soon as it hits half health, it's moderate. Is that how it always will be? So you can't just permanently be fishing at some deep thing, right? Like, this is a pattern across the game that you're always going to be following. So you're always going to be gathering a mix of fish. Is that what I'm hearing?
No. So you'll go for, so every spot has a different fish that you can get. So what I was saying with the depths is, like, only certain fish are capable of going that deep. But, like, if I'm at a marlin shoal, I'm basically catching marlin. There's one exception I'll explain later. But the marlin can go shallow, moderate, or deep. Like,
okay.
Yeah. It doesn't mean that when it's shallow, now I'm catching shrimp.
Oh, like, I see it here on the page actually now, because it does say, so that's the vibrant shoal. It can be shallow, moderate, and deep, but you're catching bluefin and marlin. Is that, like, what I'm seeing here?
Yeah. So that's the other mechanic. So you have so if you go to the shoals above those ones, there's, like, the ones that are just named the fish, like marlin.
Oh, I see.
Shoal.
Marlin shoal.
Right.
Okay.
So the vibrant ones, those are, and the shimmering, those are just like a special event that happens.
I see.
Where basically the fishing spot, you'll start to see fish swimming around them, like large fish. And it's like a boosted fishing spot, and it lasts for like a minute. And that's where you can catch more fish, and you can catch different types of fish. And specifically, if you're at, like, a mid-tier shoal, you can even catch marlin, like, a little bit here and there. So that's the case where even if I'm at a marlin shoal, right, when that starts happening, not only am I catching more marlin, I'm catching more bluefin. Like, I'm catching some bluefin here and there. If I'm at a bluefin shoal, I'm catching, a higher tier fish and stuff like that.
That makes
so
sense.
That's just like an event where you, I'm trying to think of something similar in old school where it just is like a boosted experience. And it's really good for catching more fish. And it does mean that you can get marlin. I don't know if you still need level 91 to even see a marlin from those shoals or not. But it does mean that you can catch marlin at other shoals in, like, small quantity, or bluefin at small quantity.
Okay.
In terms of the fish that you're catching, like, per hour, it varies depending on the shoal, and it varies depending on if you're, like, spam clicking here and there. But generally, I would say you're catching between, like, 450 and 600 fish per hour, maybe more, maybe upwards of, like, 700 for some fish. When doing this method. Now, the higher ones, like halibut, I think, felt higher, which I think makes sense because it's, like, an equal to Karam one. It feels like if you're doing that and you're, like, spam clicking, whatever, you probably get close to 700. If you're just kind of chilling, you're probably getting, like, 500 or so. And if you're doing kind of like this hybrid approach that I kind of do, where you're spam clicking when the shoal is vibrant, like when it's special, then you probably end up with, like, 600 or so.
And what is happening? Like, where is that fish going? In your cargo, or, like, is it just?
So,
you
it's
do
going
have
in
to
your
bank every,
fishing
like,
net.
half hour. Oh, your fishing net. Okay.
It's going in your fishing net, and your fishing nets can hold 125 each. It's 250, right? But then you empty from your fishing net into your cargo hold, right? So you can have some extra fish in your fishing net, but the thing is, you can't really even disembark while they're there, or they'll get deleted.
Oh, shit.
Or teleport. So everything goes into your cargo hold, but you're not banking every half an hour, not even close to every half an hour. This is because they added something that is so good. It's like my favorite thing that they've added. So if you have some adamant nails and camphor logs, or camphor planks, I think logs, you can make a crate. And then by using ice coolers, which you can get at Slayer Masters, like hundreds of thousands of them, you make fishing, like you make these ice cooling crates. And when they're in your cargo hold, what they do is one crate can hold 10 fish, right? So
Oh, shit.
you're not catching, like, let's say your cargo holds 200.
Yeah.
If you have those crates, which by the way, it's a stackable item, so you can have like 10,000 in your cargo hold, but when they're actually filled up, then they're one, right? You can catch like 2,000 fish before filling up your cargo hold.
Oh, okay.
So you can be out at water for like, and I love this from like a fishing boat perspective. Like if you're thinking about fishing in real life, you could be out for like 4 hours catching fish, and you could be coming back to shore with like 2,000 plus marlin.
That's
and it's
so
just,
fucking
it's
nice.
so cool. And these crates, like you empty them in your bank, and you get the crate back. The only thing you don't get back are ice coolers, which you have literally an infinite amount of. So you just like do the dart thing, and it does like 10 at a time.
Oh
where you
my
just let-
god, my first dragon nails in 216 frost dragons. I don't think that matches the drop rate. I thought it was like 1 in 65 or some shit. Let me double check actually. What's the chance of getting a nail drop? 5 to 15 is 1 in 65 unless that is increased or whatever. That's just giving the Slayer drop rate, but I feel like I should have gotten these, like I should have at least almost 30 by now with like my KC. Like I've got 217, so I should have seen this at least 2 times before. Like I don't know.
or you just click 2 items back and forth at the dart tip thing, and you have your crates back. So it's not even something you need to maintain. Once you've created enough crates, right, it could take you maybe like 20-30 minutes to make like 400 crates or whatever, then you have enough crates for the rest of time. Just buy ice coolers and that's it.
That's wild.
And I love it so much, because originally I'm thinking, oh my god, it's gonna be so cool because I'm gonna go fishing and I'm gonna fill up my cargo hold to 200. I'm gonna fill up my inventory. I'm gonna bring my fish barrel. I'm going back with 250 fish. That's incredible, right? But then it's like, yeah, you're right. That would only be like a half an hour, which would be a lot of downtime. So they added this crate system.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, you can carry all of a
I
sudden.
think where my luck is going is I think the dragon stuff is like on the same drop table, because I've gotten a good amount of dragon cannonballs. Like how much? So like 2 12 drops of cannonballs, so that probably could have been nails, I'm assuming. I'd like to think maybe, I don't know. Cope.
And your cargo hold becomes like 2,000 plus, and it is it was not mentioned anywhere, no blog post, nothing. It might have just been through like testing of like trawling's got too much downtime or something like that, where they decided to add something like this, and it's an incredible item, and not a lot of people necessarily know about it, so make sure that you get that sorted before trying it.
Is cool. So what is the top fishing and sailing XP per hour you can expect if you were to like really take it seriously and focus on the XP?
So there's a method. It's a pseudo tick manipulation, but basically you can spam click your net. And if you're spam clicking your net, you're getting a catch opportunity every 2 ticks instead of like every 4 or something. Or no, you're getting an opportunity every tick instead of every 2. I don't remember exactly if it's like every tick versus every 2 tick, but it speeds up your XP and your fish caught by quite a bit, probably like 50% better. So if you're like chilling and you're catching marlin, fishing XP wise, you're probably getting like 30k an hour, right? maybe a little less. But if you're spam clicking, I think you're bumping that up to like 45k an hour fishing experience. And then that applies to the number of fish. So if you've caught like chilling, you're catching like 400, right? Something like that, maybe a little less. And then if you're spam clicking, you're catching like close to 500. And it feels like your fishing level is also a very, very key indicator of how much fish you're catching, your success rate. So high fishing level is important. And there's that new potion that gives you +6 boost that could be worth taking. Or you can just take the harpoon and use that every once in a while. But the +6 boost is probably good. So that's what you're looking at in terms of experience rates. You are also getting sailing experience, but was hilarious to me. They nerfed the extractor, and they're like, we're going to distribute all that experience to the training methods.
Touch it.
And they just like did not think about trawling at all. So trawling went from like 30k plus sailing XP to like tanked rates because basically it's like 8k an hour without the extractor. So everything's tied to the extractor. So they need to.
Meanwhile, I have
technically.
I have done zero. Like I have no
so we'll
extractor on either
and
of my
if they
boats.
nerf crystal extractor to what I want,
I CVA. I don't care.
50 experience or whatever.
Not like I have a
then,
BOFA or
then,
anything like that that needs
sailing
upkeep.
XP. So combined, you're probably getting.
I don't even know if I would go to the
chilling,
red prison.
Like 30K,
I've got 2
20K,
KC
like
and like I struggle killing that fucking
clicking,
boss.
you're probably getting like 45k, 30k between the two skills. Rough numbers, very rough.
And does an upgraded hull
help
with any of this? Like would a rosewood is like going faster any benefit at all, or is it just as soon as you get?
For Marlin,
we have
Marlin are the only
dragon
that
cannibals
are, like,
for when
actually
a boss
faster than
comes
you at
out.
times. And that would be very beneficial to have the rosewood hull, but for the rest of them, you don't really need it. You don't even need it for the Marlin. Now there is a bug currently where when your crewmates are on the helm and you use a wind mote, their boost lasts like 10 ticks. Like it's miserable. But when you're on the boat and you use a speed boost, it's like the full 33 whatever based on your sails. So I've heard they mentioned that that's unintended. And when you're doing this fishing method, you don't want to be on the helm. You want to be on the net. Yeah. So I've had to do Marlin with like very bad boosting. I suspect when they fix that, it's going to be easier to keep up with Marlin, and probably even with the Ironwood hull, you'll keep up like 80% of the time. There's times where the Marlin just zooms away. Like you're just not going to get it. You have to maybe get a shortcut to get through to catch up to it, and get to it at a reasonable time. But there's times where it just zooms by. And there's 2 spots for Marlin, and one of them is just objectively better.
Okay, well. Where are those spots?
So they're both in the Northern Ocean, like the icy ocean. But the one to the east is a much better route. Like the one to the west near Brittle Isle is horrible. Okay. Why is that? The path. Like they have their own designated pathing. So the one to the east has points where there's like 4 or 5 very close together. And it's like no chasing.
Oh my fucking god, we got a metal sheet.
To the west just has none of that.
1 and 2, 2, 7.
You're constantly chasing.
We got a thing.
So even though there's like 1 or 2 parts in the eastern one where it'll get ahead of you, and there is one part where you're taking Kraken damage, right where the western one you take no Kraken damage. But it's worth it because the one on the west is just horrible to follow. Compared to
how many of these? 5.
Would you want to see a change to that, or is it okay how it is? Just one being
like
to get like a.
I think it's fine. I mean, maybe with the rosewood hull, the one to the west might be okay, and I won't take any damage from Kraktons, but I think it's fine. And based on my experience of like some of the other shows,
that just upped
because you can keep up with all of them. There might be some that are slightly more chill, stuff like that, but the gap is a little bit closer. Marlin is just the only one that requires like, a little bit more like awareness of where you're going and clicking and keeping up with things and stuff like that.
Got some dopamine rush.
And it's also cool. This is another example where you definitely want to chart the rapids around that area if you haven't already, because using the rapids to keep up with the Marlin is definitely helpful.
Interesting. Do you think the amount of fish is appropriate? How many you get? Or because I feel like that's a shit ton. Like
it's a ridiculous amount of fish. And like I would be okay if it's. Oh, it's amazing. I'd be okay if they want to. I mean, I don't care. Like the sailing XP at the end of the day doesn't really matter because you're getting sailing XP through
building your ship,
which are incredible.
Yeah.
Right. The fishing XP was a lot lower than I thought, because it is like, it's got a little bit of intensity to it, right? Versus just clicking on a spot and doing nothing. So I just expected it, even with the amount of fish, to be a little bit higher. If they don't change it, I don't care, because ultimately, when I'm 99 fishing, or if you're 99 fishing, all you care about is the resource. I like having reasons to go to content post 99, right? And this will be content I always engage with. The amount of fish is kind of ridiculous. Like, if you do it for, 4 hours and you have 2,000 fish, that's going to last you quite a while, right?
So I got one. I'm doing the math in my head, at least. If it costs the same amount to get 10 heavy metal sheets, this is 1 in 160 that I need. So see how rare that was? I need to do this 159 more times to get enough dragon metal sheets to get 10 large mithril dragon keel parts or whatever. Pretty sure that's what, yeah, keel parts. So yeah, that, at least I think that's how it works. So I would have to spend a bajillion amounts of hours to like get 160 of these altogether, because I'm pretty sure it takes 5 to make one. So wait, that would be 125, or am I fucking up the math? Or was it 16? I think not 10. I don't know, but like later builds, they got me to make 16 of these large like adamant and rune ones. Like it was 16, so I'd imagine 16 as well. That was like 250 sheets. Yeah. Unless they went easy on us and it's not as much as I'm thinking, but for something that I can't mine dragon, but we have a dragon metal sheet, so I'm assuming I could use that on an anvil with 4 more of them to make one. I'm assuming one of 16 heavy metal dragon keel parts. Ooh. The realization of my Iron Man fucking life are coming into play here. And that was, I only got one after just like 229. So what is actually the drop rate of it? Or did I get lucky? So it's a 1 in 200 drop off task, 1 in 55 on task. So maybe if I'm actively doing Slayer and have like a Slayer master that can get me greater demons for my Ember Light up, I gotta like upgrade my Arc Light to Ember Light. So there's that other side grind I'm on. I've only got like 1 claw. I never got a synapse yet, but I need another claw for the demonic claws or whatever. It's supposed to be like a cheap fucking dragon claw thing. Damn. I mean, I chose this life, the Iron Man life. It'll be fucking big flex when I do upgrade like part of my ship with these dragon sheets I've acquired. Like, I think that's needed for Rosemary. I might be wrong. Like, I've built everything I can right now, but like, yeah, the Rosewood helm. What does this cost? Rosewood hull parts, 600 dragon nails. Okay, wait. Okay, what about this? Rosewood logs, 60 dragon nails, 10. Okay, I could possibly realistically make that. Dragon helm, 6 rosewood planks, 8 dragon metal sheets. So I have 1 of 8 of those. What about this? Large dragon keel part, 16. So that means this rare thing that I got over the course of a few hours. Like, we're almost on hour 2, but I was doing some of this off stream when I unlocked it. But yeah, I would be here for a huge amount of time unless there's like something better than frost dragons. But I'm going to need 249 more dragon metal sheet parts if I ever want to upgrade my big boat. That's crazy. I mean, I guess I could upgrade my tiny one first, because getting 10 of these, like 9 more of them, is realistic. But like with this, that's 249 more of these. I'm pretty sure it costs the same amount where you need 5 normal dragon keel parts to get 1 large dragon keel part, so... Or... Wait, it's dragon metal sheet. It's not the same thing. Maybe it... Now I'm gonna have to... wiki look this up. What can this be made into? Oh, there's parts like the dragon cannon that need it. Dragon helm needs it. Oh yeah. Dragon keel part. Oh, it's only 2. Okay, it's not 5. Okay, thank fucking God. So then that would be like still a good grind. Like I'd need 27 more, but I mean that's better than 249 what I was originally thinking. And they can be broken down into nail parts too. 1 dragon metal sheet gets you 15 dragon nails. Interesting. I gotta take a piss, BRB.
If they toned it down a little bit, I'd be fine. If they don't, I'd be fine as well. Like it is what it is. The spam clicking method is kind of like one of those cases where you kind of have to balance around it, unfortunately. If that didn't exist, the spam clicking, you could justify buffing the XP rates and, keeping the fish rate as is. But because you have that method, you can't really buff the XP rates or like the fish rates or anything like that, because there are people out there who are just going to spam click their whole time or most of the time and get more fish. By the way, for spam clicking, if you don't want to do that all the time, just only do it when the shoal is vibrant or whatever.
And
yeah.
And do you catch the same amount of halibut as marlin, or do you actually catch more halibut per hour if you were just to focus on halibut? Because I'm thinking to myself right now, as a practical fish, what I would actually want more, marlin or halibut. And I feel like I'd want halibut more to actually practically use in situations that, like the 2-tick healing 20 sounds much nicer than, I mean, don't get me wrong, marlin sounds great too, 24 heals, but like that being a 3-tick is... I almost feel like I'd rather stack up on the halibut.
I mean, if you're taking both into your inventory, you're getting the same benefit of 2 extra HP, right?
Yeah.
Either replacing mantas or replacing. So I think halibut, though, has a higher... It might be because of your fishing level. It might be because they designed it this way. But it seems like you catch more halibut than marlin, for example, at a 1-to-1 ratio. And the halibut shoal is like super easy. Like it's so easy. And you'll still catch some bluefin there once in a while when it becomes like a shimmering. You'll catch some marlin as well. Also, the bluefin shoal is kind of interesting too. The one that gives you 5 prayer. I'm sure it's not like too crazy, but it's a manta with 5 prayer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and the shoal is easy as well. So that could be another option to go to as well. Probably catch a little bit more than marlin. Marlin probably has the lowest overall quantity, but it's still kind of high. You can still get like 500 plus if you're clicking a lot and stuff. So
that's crazy. And fine fish cutoffs, those are absolutely essential to catching these. How are people getting these in mass?
So they're not absolutely essential. Technically, you still catch fish without them, but you catch more with them. Now, the way they work. So first of all, I'll mention this. People have mentioned, what if I were to do rod fishing? Because you can actually sit with your rod while having 2 crewmates on the nets and chase the shoals that way. And you'll catch fish with your rod. So it's not good, right?
Okay.
But one of the reasons why it's not good is you use the fine fish offcuts. If you catch 1 marlin, you use 1 fish. But you you use 1 fine offcut. Now, the way that the shoals work, when you have somebody on your station that spreads the offcuts, the chum station, it only spreads them once when the shoal stops and reaches its destination, right? So it uses 1 fine fish offcut. If you catch 5 fish, 10 fish, 3 fish during that time, all the way until it moves to its next location, you've only used 1 offcut.
Oh.
So the ratio ends up being something like 5-to-1, 6-to-1, right? And if you're spam clicking, it's even better, right? So offcuts, you don't use a lot of them, and then you could then take some of the fish, especially like the lower tier fish, if you're doing that. And I think it starts at either halibut or the one below. I forget what tier, but those also give fine fish offcuts. So you can catch like a lot more fish than the amount of offcuts you use. And if you sacrifice some of the lower fish or whatever, any of the fish that you're catching, then you'll get more offcuts. So it becomes kind of like a rolling stone, where eventually you're going to end up with like more offcuts than you're going to need anyways if you just, you know, cut up some of your fish. And cutting up some of your fish is very quick as well if you're doing it on your boat. It's like you cut 4 at a time every tick. So you can do that super quick. If you're the type of person to cut up your sharks, you can do that for fine fish offcuts. But yeah, that's up to you. If you do that, I do recommend going to a dock that's near a bank, like Deep Fin or whatever. There's probably an even better one, and you can go to your boat to cut it. Instead of doing it in your inventory and cutting it, just go to your boat, because you literally do the inventory in like 4 ticks, and you can cut shark really quickly that way.
That just reminded me of how tilting it was to kill great white sharks, get raw shark as the loot, and then not be able to cut it with a knife because I'm under attack on my boat. You can't. Even if you just have one shark on like your boat, I remember trying to cut it, and I still was not able to find a break long enough to be able to cut it. It's so stupid.
I wonder if you had a chum station on that boat, if you'd be able to.
I think somebody did say you can use a chum station, but apparently you're getting fewer or something using that.
No, you're getting the same amount.
Is it the same?
Weird.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're getting the same amount. But even if it was a case where it would like interrupt you, it would still be better because you can like after killing one and you had like 4 raw sharks, you can cut them all instantly. Right? Even if it delayed you, at least you can do it every 4 sharks instead of every 1.
True.
By the way, there was also this might still exist. I don't even know. It's a bug. I don't even know if I should mention it.
Do it.
Do you know the squid? The squid that you can fish for now, the lantern fishing?
No.
So there's lantern fishing now, which is just like it gives you squid paste, which is like for potion. It's a source of food, but it also gives you the squid beak, which you need to make the blowpipes. You know, the new blowpipes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there was a bug that I know one of my friends were like, no way, and he tested it and got very lucky. But there's like a 1 in 1,000 chance to get like a squid beak when you cut. But if you do it on your chum station, which makes sense because your boat's right by the freaking thing anyways, when it cuts that one action and it cuts 4, my buddy got 4 squid beaks.
Oh my god. Okay, so whenever you roll that thing, it just gives you all of them.
It gave you all of them, which I hope they got rid of. Yeah. No, it looks like they didn't get rid of it yet.
Maybe he just got super lucky. Come on, like maybe he just rolled the back 4 back, you know?
He did roll back 4 back. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's crazy.
I think those were selling for an okay amount of money, but that's a bug. But that's a case too where if you're fishing those, to cut them up, don't cut them up in your inventory. Just cut them up in the boat that you have docked right there.
I see.
It's gonna be much better, much quicker.
Question about ships in general. So with all the knowledge you know now with regards to what we currently have with sailing, this is obviously there's going to be more and more activities coming out in the future, but how many ships do we need optimally to be able to participate in all the activities that we'd want? So Barracuda trials, salvaging, and I'm talking about the most efficient way to do all these activities. Like how many boats do you need?
Yeah. So you need your Barracuda trial boat. Right.
And that's just a skiff, right?
That's just your skiff. It has the crystal extractor near your helm, right?
And that's pretty much it. You don't need to build any other stations. It's just the crystal extractor and then like a fully pimped out max speed, max sails, max everything.
Yeah, I wish I could look at my boat now. There's some other things too. I'm trying to think.
But there's no other facilities you need to build, right? Other than the
you
crystal.
You need the wind catcher.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And then you're going to have a cargo hold no matter what. What else? Because I ran out of space on mine.
Maybe
there's no need for a hook.
Thing.
Yeah, stuff like that, sure. That's there's no need for hook or net, so that spot's useless. And then, what was on the side
a keg, maybe?
Yeah, so that's the thing. I had trouble fitting the keg on the skiff.
Really?
Right?
Okay, so...
Yeah.
Because...
because I put a teleport focus on it, that's why.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I put a teleport focus.
So ultimately, a teleport focus is not actually essential if you were just to be grinding.
Here's the thing. If you're only doing Barracuda trials, yes, probably. But the Barracuda trial boat is a wonderful candidate for the port task boat as a skiff, surprisingly. Now, you could do port task with the sloop. But at the Rosewood tier, I prefer, even at the Ironwood tier, which is technically slower, I prefer the skiff because it can fit into tighter areas. The distance between the helm and the cargo hold is shorter. There's like some benefits I enjoy with the skiff. And with that, you want the teleport focus because you want to be able to teleport to Alderan, like bring your boat to Alderan instantly and stuff like that. So
is
in
the
terms
keg
of like
worth it? Like, can it even fit if you're going to include that?
It can't fit at that point.
Oh, it just cannot fit.
When you have everything, you can't fit everything. So
noted.
So negative there. But if you had a Barracuda boat specifically, then I suppose you can put a keg on that. But then you have 2 skiffs all of a sudden. So it's like, I don't know. But if you end up using a sloop for your port task, then at that point, yeah, probably the Barracuda boat, you probably fit your keg on there.
It feels like using a sloop will be the move, even taking into consideration the cargo hold. But, I mean, isn't oftentimes, at least what I've seen, you're not even navigating your ship while doing port task? Or maybe it was like the short distance one. It seemed like the streams I was watching, the player is just holding their cargo. They're not even dumping it. They're just holding it while the navigator is navigating the ship.
So the problem is, and that will be true, but the problem right now is that the navigator can't use the boost properly.
Yeah.
So when I'm doing cargo tasks, I'm on the helm. Now, when they fix that, then yeah, you're just holding the cargo. So a sloop probably becomes a little bit more viable there. There are going to be cases, though, where like some rapids are going to be harder to get through or maybe even impossible. There's one part in Etc. where there's 2 rapids that you literally cannot do on a sloop because you'll get stuck.
Okay.
So I still think there's debate as to which one's better. The benefit of the sloop, though, assuming they're both rosewood, is you can have 2 kegs on it. You can put a XP keg and you can put Ocean Randoms keg. So that's the benefit of doing that. But I don't know if it outweighs some of the cons currently. The other benefit of the sloop is that Ironwood tier technically has a higher speed cap. But that's also, debatable because you need rapids for that. So I would say you need a Barracuda boat, and then you need a port task boat that's either a sloop or a skiff from your Barracuda because they're pretty 1-to-1. You obviously want your salvaging boat, which probably needs the least amount of like upgrading on it, right? Like you don't need a crazy keel or a crazy hull on that boat, right?
Can a salvaging boat be a trawling boat perfectly?
No, because
or can it just
it's
not?
the same spot. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the same spot, and usually your salvaging boat is also your combat boat.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, is that what it needs to be basically? Like, am I okay building 2 dragon hooks and 2 dragon cannons on the same sloop, or is that a mistake?
No, I think you're more or less okay. There's an argument to be made that you could technically put it on your fishing boat, but the fishing boat, even though like there's something called a fathom stone that helps you locate the shoal, like it's not absolutely needed, but it still actually makes finding the shoal a little bit quicker, but it saves you only a little bit of time at the beginning of your trip. So the reason as to why you might put it on your trawling boat would be, well, the trawling boat benefits much more from a rosewood hull, right? Because you want the extra speed for Marlin. So it's going to be upgraded in that sense, so you might put cannons on it, but I think there's enough facilities. You want the trawling fishing keg, you want the whatever keg on there. I still think salvaging's better, and the whole fantasy of having a fishing boat, for me, this is like has nothing to do with the game and optimizing. I can't put cannons on my fishing boat, man.
Yeah.
It just doesn't fit my worldview. But I would say, generally speaking, though, like, yeah, you don't need separate boats for salvaging and combat, because you should be able to fit both the keg and the combat keg, right? You might have to potentially change your kegs depending on your activity. You could just like refill them, right?
Yeah. Okay, so
I think you're good.
So hear me out. If I were to decide, because right now my activities are just salvaging and combat, and that's working just great, but I will want to get into trawling. So what I should do is have my salvaging combat boat be one thing, keep it with the ironwood at the moment because I don't have all the nails for a hull, but then only build the rosewood hull or prioritize building the rosewood hull for the trawling and keep the salvaging and combat as the slightly slower speed because it really doesn't matter. I'm basically stationary all the time anyway. So prioritize building that hull and then pimp out the boat for trawling specifically because that's
I think that's the right way to go. Yeah. I think the only difference might be if this is still months away for you to get to that point, and then all of a sudden Jagex like, we're adding a boss at the water, and you're like, well, okay, maybe I'll sacrifice the trawling boat and not upgrade it to rosewood and I'll do the combat bow first, right?
Yeah.
That would be like the old, for anybody who's seeing this a little bit later and that's like a reality, then having the extra health on your boat, you know, stuff like that might be more important at that point. I'm not sure exactly how many more fish you're catching with marlin per hour with rosewood with this thing, but naturally right now I would say, yeah, that would be the path. I'd do trawling boat upgrade first. I'd probably still do... So what I like about using a skiff for the cargo for Portas and Barracuda Trials is that it's obviously cheaper to upgrade to rosewood, and you're filling the same kind of niche. So it's like it's one rosewood hull upgrade that costs half the price in nails, you know. So it's like and it solves 2 activities at that point. So I might do my skiff even before I do my trawling boat because I'm not dying to get like thousands of food.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Did you say you would trawl on a skiff or something about?
No.
Are you
sorry.
even able to do that? Or
No,
is it...
it'd be one
must
net.
be a
It'd be
sloop.
horrible. Yeah.
Okay, it
it'd
must
be
be a
only one net. I would do sloop,
I
and you'd be
see.
missing other facilities. Sorry, I was saying that I might consider upgrading my skiff that I use for Barracuda Trials and for cargo port tasks. I might do that
first.
before the trawling boat because it's much cheaper and
it's really not that big
fixes
of a
2
difference. Just going slightly faster just for those occasional situations where you're trying to keep up with the shoal.
Yeah. And generally, I like to have teleport focuses on all my boats because teleport focus is very convenient. It's very quick. And there's the upgraded teleport focus, right? Which
That's the one with
obviously...
the bottled storm?
Bottled storm. And that allows you to teleport to your boat, which obviously can have some cool use cases. Oh, by the way, with Marlin, if you're ever doing Marlin in the future, just a little tip. You can teleport to Weiss or you can teleport to the fairy ring on Grimstone Island, like either one. And if you have a teleport focus on your trolling boat, you just pull it out there and you're right in front of the shoal. So it takes like no time to get to the Marlin.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So that's why I like the teleport focus. But in the future, obviously, ideally all your boats have the upgraded teleport focus. But technically, only one boat needs it. Because you can, let's say, teleport to Grimstone. Wait, hold on. Teleport to your boat. No, Grimstone's not a good example. But let's say your boat's on a random island, like that's far away, like the one that gives you ironwood, right?
Yep.
You can teleport to your boat, and you want to get to merchant salvaging with your salvaging boat. So you can teleport to your boat that's on that island, and then just use the basic teleporter to pull out your salvage boat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like a 2-step process. I think it would be 2-step process either way, even if you had the upgraded thing. So basically, Kraken, technically you could put it on all your boats, but if you have it on one of your boats, you can still pull any boat that you need to any place, provided you bring that, you know, boat with the upgrade wherever it needs to be. I don't know. It's a little complicated. Obviously, in the future, there might be some metas where maybe it makes sense to just park a boat somewhere. I was thinking that what if you just had a freaking raft somewhere that just had one, it doesn't even make sense, but just had the greater teleport focus, just as like a permanent.
That's what I'm
get
actually
somewhere.
considering. I mean, I was about to say drive. I drove over here now. I sailed over to the Ironwood Tree little island. What is this place called? I need to figure this out. Sunbleak Island.
Yeah.
On my fucking raft because I pimped it out with rosewood. So like, why the hell not? And if that can just include the greater teleport focus, I'm pretty sure you can just build one facility and you can just replace the cargo hold with it.
You just camp it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just camp it wherever.
I was thinking about that. Yeah. Now I don't see the reason why you wouldn't just have a sloop or a skiff with that one thing, right?
Yeah. True.
So
I think maybe if you're using that more though, because the raft you're never actually using with activities. You're just trying to get to somewhere quick, and if it.
Yeah, and that's one boat I'm debating, like having as my 5th boat, like having a raft for like tight corners and tight areas, and the fact that it's rosewood and can be very fast. Now, even though it's rosewood and fast, you don't have stuff like the crystal extractor and the wind motes. You can't like time your boost and get the extra one. So I don't know how much value there is there long term. I think long term you probably still get like a 5th boat, maybe as a skiff.
You're right.
But who knows with Jagex, like, you know, we have a couple areas in charting where you need a raft, right? So, yeah.
Here's another question I have for you. Thoughts on being able to sort of flat back a facility. So being able to build a facility, build a dragon cannon, and then be able to just remove it, but it goes into your inventory as sort of like in construction, we have these like noted chairs and stuff that nobody fucking uses ever, but like you can just build a facility that can now go in your inventory and you can just replace it, put it on a different boat, for example. Why don't we have, I mean, I understand maybe it was a little bit complicated for the engine to figure out how to like move facilities freely, just like we can with the POH, being able to move houses around, or little not houses, but just like rooms around. And I think we need to be able to have that on the ship. But if it's not just being able to move things, we should be able to at least take off a facility. It goes into our inventory, and then we can go to a different boat and then just plant that wherever we want. What are your thoughts?
Oh, interesting. Like, I definitely think there should be some form of moving or something that exists.
Yeah.
Because right now it's like pretty punishing. Like, even you're like, do I put my dragon cannons here or not? And to some extent, we could both be wrong. Like, there could be content in the future where it's like, damn, I wish I put my dragon cannons here. And now you're kind of screwed. I think what you're describing might be a little too liberal, like in terms of being able to just pop it onto a boat, like, and just move it around. Like, I think having some sort of cost associated with it in some way would probably be better. But I'm not sure what that cost is. I think on any given boat, you should be able to move facilities, though.
Yeah.
Like, on the boat itself, you should be able to. Crossboat, I don't know.
Well,
I think
I just feel like I'll just say one argument for being able to cross it over. Like, it would suck to have built all these things on one boat, and then you're moving it, but like, are you able to move things but also delete things and hold it later? Like, because the reason the flatback idea makes just so much more sense is the fact that it will be an inconvenience anyway. It'll just take time to like remove things and then go to your next boat and do that. So there already is that sort of like pain point, which is very little, but there is that. But the problem is if you just keep it to one boat, what happens when you're not using it at all? Does it just get deleted? Does it get saved into the cloud, like, so you can use it later? Like, I just don't understand where it could go if it wasn't just a flatback.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But explain to me why it would be too liberal. Is it just the fact that you would only ever need to just grind out 2 cannons and only ever need to grind out 2 hooks and then you're good forever? Like, is there any value on having to grind out more? I just find it like the prices, the amount of hours you need to take as an Iron Man, for example, to get these facilities already makes it totally, in my opinion, totally reasonable to be able to move it anywhere you want, take it off, keep it in your inventory for a little bit, switch it to another boat. I just think that makes so much more sense.
Yeah. I think on that point, it's like, I think that's sort of fair. I'm trying to think of like, other than like, cause you won't need more than 2 hooks anyways, right? You won't need more than 2 trawling nets. Like, those are set. This would only apply to certain stations, like the cannons, like the gale catcher, stuff like that. And I'm trying to think of if there's a case where it's like really broken. Maybe it's not that bad.
I feel like as long as it's just
man.
Facilities, I think it makes perfect sense.
And it needs to be untradeable the whole time.
Yeah, sure.
Because I was thinking that, like, originally, like, I was like, if I remove something, like, I would get the item, like, the unique item back from it. But it'd be like an untradeable state. Like, it would become like an untradeable version. That way I could move my stuff around.
Yeah, they could just be untradeable flatbacks. Ultimately.
I think they need to be, untradeable, just to prevent people from like, remove, sell. I don't know.
I don't even think it's that crazy of a thing for them to be tradable anyway, because right now, I mean, you need the level requirements regardless to like utilize the stations and to build. Like, I feel like the building / the using is basically the same. So I don't understand what exactly would be the problem with them even being tradable.
Yeah, because it's a cost at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, I just feel like there's no real. I mean, I could get behind either. I just don't see what the issue would be with them being tradable. Again, I'm not even a main account, so I don't really care either way. But
no, yeah, maybe that could work. Maybe something like that could work. Yeah, tradable or not, I'm not sure. But
I mean, some would probably have to be untradeable because it came from an untradeable item. So like the crystal extractor, you obviously couldn't just flat back a crystal extractor and be like, all right, anybody can buy it. You got to do the thing. Yeah, actually, I do think for simplicity's sake, keeping them untradeable flatbacks would actually just be the move.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe something like that could work. Yeah, yeah. Other than the fact that it's really just the cannons and maybe like teleport focus, like you could move around, but I don't know if that's providing, like, once you have the items, you've grinded them out, like,
yeah,
maybe it's balanced enough.
Because like the teleport focus, to be able to move that, like the greater one, like, don't get me wrong, like, yeah, that's a really powerful thing, and to be able to move it freely is,
yeah, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
But yeah, it's really not that big a deal, because it's, you already have the pain point of just having to go to the ship, right, or the shipyard or whatever, go there, pick it off, like, go back, go to your next boat, put it back on.
I
like,
see. Okay, I think I could get on board with some sort of version of that in some way. Yeah, I think what I'm thinking about is anybody who like built their dragon cannons and like have to later regret that they did that, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, for those people, some system like this, whether it's like Flatpak or an interface or, you know, getting something back to be able to move it to a different boat or a different location on the boat, whatever, like, I think makes sense.
Yep.
And there isn't anything too crazy broken I could think of, other than the fact of like, if for whatever reason we needed multiple versions of like a combat boat that you could kind of, you know, switch, move your cannons around and have it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if for whatever reason we have some content in the future where it's like a skiff like is better with a cannon,
yeah,
right? Because it's like a tight area or something like that, then it's like, oh well, let me pull my dragon cannon off my sloop instead of grinding another one. But even then, I don't know.
I think it would still be fine, because again,
yeah,
it would just, like, for convenience sake, it would be, I would feel like as a player, like, I'm just gonna go grind out another dragon cannon, so I never have to deal with this pain point of.
You probably would, yeah. Some players would definitely grind it out. Can you flat pack my hull as well, so I can get my rosewood hull on all my boats?
So that couldn't be flat backed, yeah. So like the actual, it's just facilities.
Can you imagine?
That'd be crazy. That would make no sense at all. It would be like what's that whole philosophical take of like the someone's boat? What's that? What's the
teach a man how to fish?
What's that?
And he'll know. Feed a man a fish and he'll live a day. Teach him how to fish.
Like, if you take off a piece of a boat, at what point is it not the same boat? You know what I mean? Like, if you were to keep replacing the parts, there's some.
Yeah.
Someone's ship. Okay, I'm gonna figure it out. Something. Ship.
Oh, Ship of Thesis paradox.
Ship of Thesis, there it is. I'm like, it's something Thesis. There we go.
If you replace all its parts, is it the same ship? Is basically.
Yeah.
Like
that's exactly.
Ship, yeah.
Okay.
I see.
Makes sense. Have you?
Yeah. No. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna ask. Have you renamed your ship yet?
No. It's a guy on an island who does that, right?
Yeah. What are your names on your boats? Are there any goofy ones?
Okay, so the salvaging one was named Mithril Wave, which is whatever.
That's solid.
It's pretty good. My skiff is a horrible name. It's like 2 long words I don't even know. And then my trawling ship is Swift Beast, which I think is kind of cool.
Ooh, nice. Yeah. My raft is Laughing Beard, and then I got Night Hind, and then I got Vibrant Whip.
Vibrant Whip?
Yeah, I don't even know.
Well, you have to make a trawling boat. We have to see what name you get.
Yeah. No, I do love the sort of randomization. I love that you can eventually kind of customize it. Is it still just matching names up with names, or is it a full customization?
I have no idea.
I need to go there and try.
I almost was like, man, what if we tried like make a little RNG, try to get the best name ever? But if you could just rename
and keep re-rolling it or something. Yeah. Interesting. So I interrupted. We both had a thought. What was yours, if you remember?
No, nothing. No, okay. that was it. Just putting a button on the flat packs.
Okay, so now let me ask, sort of kind of wrapping things up. So we have obviously a bunch of different methods with sailing. We both find the skill very well produced for obviously what it is. I mean, obviously we're going to see more and more islands coming out. That's another point I want to talk about, the whole island player designed island thing. But I also want to talk about what do you want to see from the future going forward? What do you think Jagex should prioritize in regards to like new updates, not just fixes and stuff, but I mean like new content upgrades? What do you think should be the first stuff coming out? and then we'll talk about.
Okay, so
what's
not
this
talking
mentioned?
about fixes for things, like
Yeah, not talking about
trait
fixes.
and
Just
yeah.
assuming everything does get fixed the way we want. What content going forward with sailing would you want to see prioritized first?
Yeah, prioritize. I want I want the boss out at sea, right? Because I want to be able to feel like I'm using, my dragon cannons and I'm having the most DPS.
What does this look like? Is this an instanced boss? Because this is the question I'm wondering. If you see a boss and it's a true boss that's just out somewhere, is it just like world hopping simulator where you keep having to find an empty one, or is it like an instanced area you go in that's a 1v1 against the boss, or is it a mass thing where you're seeing a bunch of shadows of boats that are all firing like a fucking gem crab? Like, what do you imagine it being?
I try not to imagine because Jagex said what it was gonna be, which was a small scale boss at sea. So that to me sounds like a boss. I don't know if it's instance or not, but it sounds like a boss you do with people. Like it would be like 10 people. Probably is instance then, in some way. So you'd go in with X amount of people, and you'd it wouldn't be a solo boss, and you'd take them out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes enough sense to me. No, I mean, but
I have no idea what it looks like. Like what I do think it should have is, I think one of the better parts of sailing is the boat movement, right? Just the nuance, the different timing your speed boost, turning your boat, like you said, like unsetting your sail and turning quickly, stuff like that. So this small scale boss, I'd imagine that like we said, the combat system's kind of bare, but if movement becomes a large part of this boss, like you're dodging waves, you're dodging lightning, while trying to optimally position your cannons, then that to me, for a first boss, sounds like it has enough going on and enough it kind of makes me a little bit more optimistic about the combat that we're getting out at sea with our boats. So I would hope for that. So these could be like, the classic wave attacks you get from Zabak, for example, right? Being able to like pass through that effectively, being able to, we have like the lightning clouds that we get from Temper Tantrum over there, but like maybe a little bit more fleshed out version of that as a mechanic. Maybe it's like, I don't know if it's like a tentacle boss, like I don't know if it's a Kraken boss or something like that. I don't know the exact type of boss, but I'd imagine something like that, and you'd be able to do it with your friends on separate boats, not on the same boat. Yeah, I don't expect it to be on the same boat. That would be a big priority for me, definitely.
What if there was like a gem crab? I'm saying gem crab only because it's just like hella mass and it has a shit ton of HP, but just some sort of monster out on sea where you can kind of get basic supplies, dragon nails, dragon sheets, dragon whatever, but this monster is just a big, 8x8 or something massive sea octopus thing that's just slapping these like shockwaves. So everybody that's fighting it is getting attacked back. Yeah. But it's kind of like a group encounter where you're all just kind of like chilling. Everyone's trying to aim their boat properly so both cannons are firing at it. Like, do you think there's some value to adding a sea creature like that where multiple people are attacking it at once and it just feels like a group activity?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I think the first boss will be that, like, largely. I don't know if it'll be like, it's funny because I don't imagine instance is, so like, I kind of, if it does end up being like 100 people, sure. Like, I guess it just needs to like not be super cluttered, and we'll have to see what they do.
Yeah.
I know.
There'll be, if they don't incentivize, well, if they make it exactly kind of like Gem Crab, it'll be fine. You can kind of go on any world and kill it. If it just like keeps balancing depending on the player. But if it does have a certain amount of HP, there will be some sort of world that's just mass. You've got like 300 ships surrounding. There's just a bunch of clouds, a bunch of like shadows. I mean, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I also wonder, in regards to like raids and stuff. Can you even imagine a raid at this current state with, or like the current combat state of ships and stuff? Like, do you think a raid could ever even be a thing on a boat?
No. So I think Raids 4 will come probably next year. Yeah. And I expect it to be like a boss rush raid. Like they've said that, right? Like it's going to be more like TOB.
Yep.
That being said, whether it's Raids 4 or potentially Raids 5, I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to one small element of the raid involving using your boat. So like we're talking, this is a 20-25 minute raid. Like 20 plus minutes of it is like your standard raid, but there's like one part where you're using your boat for something, like you're like crossing a river or something, and like that's it, just to give it a little touch of like, hey, here's this new skill, right? But largely I think the raid is just going to be more or less boss rush. So it could be like the very beginning of the raid, for example, like maybe the first minute of the raid is you like sailing to the thing or something. Yeah, maybe you're on a raft, maybe you're on your own boat, right? And it's like maybe it's your raft or skiff or whatever, and it's like you have to like, you know, get through this like channel, and then you land on this like island, or this like, you know, that you pass through the channel and you land in a cave now, right? And now you're doing kind of your traditional raid, right? Like I wouldn't be opposed to something like that, like just a little element of sailing, even if it's like more, you know, even if the mechanics aren't like super difficult and it's more just like just a quick like minute sailing, a little bit of world building, a little bit of dodging. Maybe there's like some cool mechanic you could do and that's it. And then traditional raid after that. I would not ever think about even doing like a fight during like a raid fight. Yeah. That would be on water or something like that. I don't think it's at that point.
What are your thoughts on the player designed island? Have you considered joining in the competition at all, and have you seen any islands like on Reddit that have spoken to you?
I haven't seen too many. I've seen no, I really haven't seen many at all. I think I saw a couple joke ones.
Like Penn Island. Hopefully that one passes.
I didn't see that one. What is that?
It's just like a shape of, it looks like to be like a penis, but it's just it must just be coincidence. Yeah, just no. Did you not see that one? That I need to find. No. Need to find it because it actually just looks so fucking goofy. It's a complete joke, obviously. Penn Island, like penis land.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, it's funny.
Let me see But yeah, that one was. I'll try to find it, but yeah, in general, are there certain things that you do want to see from an island, or is it just kind of like whatever?
Yeah. So yeah, in terms of like island and things. Okay, so yeah, that's actually a good. Okay, so we're talking about kind of what things we should see in sailing, and I mentioned like small scale boss, right, as like a big one. Island content is like a big one for me as well, whether it's player designed or Jagex designed. What came out with launch, like the islands we got on launch were probably more of a letdown than I was expecting. A lot of islands don't really have a purpose at all. And I guess it's okay to have a few islands, but like there are like 10 islands that you go to and there's like one thing you do and then you like never go back. Yeah, I see that island. That looks good. Penn Island.
It's so bad because it was just a quote tweet from the player design thing. It got 4,000 likes.
Dude, I mean, it looks like there's more content on that island than a lot of the ones we have.
What's the symbol on the left testicle? Is that an Iron Man symbol?
I thought that was an Iron Man symbol.
So I think call it a stream. I was gonna play Zenless Zone Zero, but I ended up just spending more time here. Maybe I'll play Zenless Zone Zero later, but I want to get like something to eat and stuff. Just like I gotta go do some like I gotta get some more prayer potions. I am wasting these super restores because I'm lazy, but like I have the Raynar weeds and I have the Snape grass. Like I just gotta go like to the desert, tell them to make some unfinished potions with my vials of water, and then bada boom, bada bang, we got Raynar potions unfinished. I just gotta add the Snape grass to it, and then we'll be hella rolling in prayer pots to continue this instead of wasting super restores. Although, like, I've been doing tormented demons, so that's also been going at my ship, but apparently there's like moss. I'm gonna have to look into that for sure. 40k mahogany logs. It's crazy. I think also, yeah, I've been high alking shit, so I got like 5 mil while salvaging. I've got to put more money in my miscellanea tab because I'm like the king of that kingdom. So they're gonna have like a bunch of shit like Raynar weed basically for me, and some other shit. I know a lot of my like mahogany logs came from like definitely Kingdom Miscellanea. I don't think I ever cut a mahogany log in my life. Same thing with like magic logs. Like I've gotten these all from like boss drops. I know I used like when I first came back. I came back just cutting magic longbows, and I was just like watching shit on Netflix. So that's where like a good few thousand of my magic logs went. Was just like, oh, the first thing I'm gonna level up is like get one fletching level. So I got 93 to 94. I think the main thing I need is like darts here. Yeah, 95. Then I don't got a boost for dragon darts for when I want to use blowpipe for stuff and have max ammo, because the ammo in blowpipe increases the damage done by the blowpipe more than the blowpipe itself. Yeah. What's our bank value? 1 bill. What if I bank everything? It's probably like still over 1 bill, obviously. 1.1 bill. I don't really. Whatever. 1.16 bill. Okay. We're very rich. And what the hell is this hairstyle? Why do I have that hairstyle? Why do I have the afro? What the fuck? I remember I had the long hairstyle. What the fuck? Where does this afro come from, bruh? I know I never went to a fucking hairstylist and like asked for that. Hold on, we gotta change that back. If it's the last thing I do of this stream. What the fuck? Okay, Fally. Bring me back to the hairdresser. What the hell? So, long hair, black. There we go, that's literally what I had. I've always had this hair. I don't know if I did a quest or something that made me have that afro or something. But I don't remember having that afro ever, or going to go do that like that. Almost scares me, like, someone have access to my account? What the fuck? Yeah, at one point, I'm a billionaire as an Iron Man, basically. I got this all by myself. No help from anyone else. Oh yeah, this was my moons phase. I was like, yeah, let's get all this. I don't know where this all oh, it went over here because it's damaged. Got the full, like, rain set and the full maid set and a little bit of like the blood moon stuff. I was like, actually I don't need this shit. I thought this would be actually useful in other areas, but I just want to experience what new Iron Man like got that I had to suffer for, because like I did my Bando's grind without any of that. There was no moons or anything for like little baby Iron Man now. I fucking grinded for everything that I've ever gotten. Got a goddamn blowpipe before I was even 85. Like, I walked up the hill 2 ways to school. Toxic blowpipe. Like, that was one of the first things I got. Actually, no, it was like 5 or 6 KC. I had gotten the Serpentine helm, and then I got the mutagen to turn into Tanzanite helm. Nothing different, it's just cosmetically it looks more badass. It's just a rare job you could use on your helmet. Yeah, I got this super easy because I didn't even have, I was using like anti-poison potions, which I don't even think I have inside my bank anymore, because I use like antidotes and shit, and like these anti-venoms. Forgotten brew, what is that? Then extended anti-venoms I could be making, but I gotta do like Araxite and learn what that is. I don't know if it's related to a quest or something, but eventually I gotta do a Slayer Master that has the rack sets and probably do that as an Iron Man. I don't know what it gives me. I haven't did a lot of research. I've been like mainly a WoW Andy for like the last 5 or so years, something like that. Yeah. But yeah. Call it a stream here. I may or may not be on in an hour or so. I wanna get something to eat, take a little break. You guys have a good night.